Hello. Hi, hi. How are you doing? Welcome. Welcome, welcome. I'm flat. Hope you're doing good. I'm a little bit late today because I had something to do just now. Also, welcome Jameson. Welcome Magpie. Welcome Zandik. Welcome. Hope you're doing good. Well, a lot of things happened today actually, right? In such a short time, there's so many things happening. There's extremely good, there's bad. Right? So I wanna be really honest here, right? The reason that I wanted to, that I need to start streaming a little bit late today is because it's a little bit shameful, honestly, but it's a little bit of a selfish reason. But I get to. This is such a dream come true, though. I get to hang out with Celeste in VR chat, so. So that's why. So yeah, it's a little bit of a selfish reason for me to start streaming this late. So me and her was talking on Discord for a bit last night. And then since we couldn't really like get a proper time for us to like spend time together, and then I figured that since I will start playing games with Zeus and Bracky together at 2 p.m. my time, which is usually like 2 hours later than my stream, so I figured that maybe I could use that time to hang out with Celeste for a little bit. So yeah, that's why. Oh yeah, we have shared chat. Brecky's not streaming, right? Okay, yeah, it's okay. Are we? Are you? Are we? Do we? Oh. I can remove bot. I'm okay with that, don't worry. Did I get the right... Oh yeah, I got the right peak thing. I think it's already done downloading. Okay, yeah. I think we can try to use the in-game voice chat question mark. Is that in-game voice chat for peak or is that no? I never played the game, so I have no idea. Oh, wait, you guys are already open. Oh, okay, it's already done downloading. In-game chat proximity. Oh, I mean, proximity voice chat is not bad, right? We can try proximity voice chat for a bit. Also, if you scream, we can echo. Oh, yeah, that's actually pretty nice. Yeah, I'll do it. Seems good. Let me just close all of these real quick then. Okay. Whoa. I'll just use the first one. I don't know. I don't know anything about that. I love the dice of cringe ads. Right, give me a second. Hopefully this is not as intensive. Accessibility. Select microphone. Of course, it's this one. Oh, this is a play offline. Ooh, cannibalism? Why is this on by default? What game am I playing? Is this peak? Why am I eating human? Oh, am I supposed to turn it off? Why is it on by default? I am concerned. Bug phobia? I'm okay with bugs in game. It's fine. Okay, I believe you. Max frame rate? Oh, my PC is not that good. Max frame rate be 60. Hey, VSync on though. Render scale? Native? High? Medium? Low? High. I think it should be fine. I think this game should not be that intensive. I hope. Voice activation. Oh, it's like my mic is on constantly? Push to talk. Is there no toggle? I mean, a toggle would be nice, but it's okay. If I'm too noisy in game, then do tell me. I'm not too sure what I can do, honestly. Okay, so let me join. I'm late. What's go? What? Am I supposed to be here?
Hello.
Hello? I hear Brecky. I don't see Brecky. Oh. Oh.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm currently editing my look.
Oh, how do you edit look?
I'm gonna... Are you streaming?
Yeah, I'm streaming.
I will... Gotta do the stream together thing again.
Oh.
Hello.
Hi, Zeus.
Hello.
If you hold left click on your passport, you can edit.
Oh, okay. I'm purple? Why am I so sleepy?
Game source audio.
Can you say
Peek.
something, Tiora?
Hello.
Okay, I put you up
Hello?
to 200.
I'm that soft? Wow.
Yeah, I don't know why you're soft. Maybe... Wait, I heard myself. Oh no.
I think I heard myself from Brecky. Question mark?
Oh no.
I'm gonna talk when I'm close to Brecky and see.
Yes, it's always me.
Oh.
I don't know what to do different about that.
Were you doing the nene? Why are you doing the nene? Ah. Oh, there's a mirror here. Nice. Have you played this game before? Or am I the only one that's like first time?
I
I've
know
played it.
nothing about this game.
You get cosmetics for doing certain things. Like, I got the wolf ears by being a lone wolf and beating the game
Oh.
on my own.
So Zeus is like
I-
veteran.
It's too much work to set up the stream right now.
So, I can... Oh,
Oh, I died.
I have to open...
Why is the backflip so powerful?
I have to
Why am
open
I falling?
Firefox.
I did it like 3 times earlier.
Can you like backflip for real?
There.
Oh. Oh wow.
Oh. Oh no, my game isn't streaming.
Mine should be. What do you mean something
I
went
was still in my
wrong?
starting soon. So we could practice over here if you want.
Oh, there's practicing? Alright.
It's just this little thing.
What do we do in this game
Yes.
actually?
What do we do in this game?
Yeah.
We
We-
climb.
Oh, we climb?
Oh, you.
And if we're playing together, we can help each other out by like
Oh.
grabbing you. Oh, bye.
Oh, where? I think you have to not hold the passport to do this, question mark?
Okay.
Oh,
Oh, then you just walk up the
I
wall, I
helped you out.
guess.
By doing this, right click.
oh. Oh, it's not the nene. Oh, okay.
I was doing the dance and then I was holding right click.
It looks like nene. Oh my god.
Hello?
Hello.
Oh, you doing that?
Whoa, Ricky.
Goodbye.
You can't do that?
And you can also grab onto stuff like the rope to climb up easier.
Do I dance?
But one thing, if someone's climbing, you can always hold right click and you can pull them up. Oh,
Oh.
so if you're like running out of stamina and you're like right here, you can help them all the way up.
Mustn't grab.
This looks
Zeus.
I'm out of
incredibly
stamina now.
janky.
I thought I grabbed you though. Is there fall damage in this game?
There is fall damage.
Crap. Fair enough.
Let me. Oh, my voice volume is at 10%. Let's bring that up to.
Oh, is that why I'm
30?
soft too?
Okay, I brought up my voice volume.
You
Can
sound
you say something for me?
you sound the same to me, I think.
Okay, I'm bringing you up to 160. Oh no, like my audio to hear you.
Oh.
Hello, Brecky.
Hello?
Breaky sounds fine.
If we want to, start, we have to go to the end of the airport.
I want to
still
go
don't
the opposite way.
understand this game. Because
You hold left click and you climb.
how do I get from the road up?
Oh, you have to jump off and climb after.
I like your ears.
You can't really climb with something in your hands.
Oh.
And if you hold shift while you're climbing, you do a jump.
Jump.
You do like a little lunge. It takes the same distance no matter how much stamina it uses. So if you're about to run out, you can do the jump at the very end.
Ah, it's like a last push then. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
On the
And if you run out of
track.
stamina, you just fall.
Oh, okay.
I think that's it for the game. Just climb.
We have to get to the peak.
Right. Oh, it's the name of the game. Okay. Oh my god, my eyes.
Oh, there's a photo booth.
Whoa, it's all my picture. Did it just... Oh.
Can I set my...
Morning, Peter. Morning, Tekken. Hi, Sorrow. And thanks for the like.
Can I change the... like, how my microphone picks up? I guess I can do push to talk.
Oh, you mean...
If I do push to talk, what button is the talk?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
Oh, there's rebind controls at the bottom of the escape menu. Push to talk is V by default, or for me at least. I don't know if that's default.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Hi.
Hello. The tiny streak growths. Hello, Gribbeth. Wait, we're not in share chat with Bracky. Or I'm not in share chat with Bracky.
Oh yeah, we don't have share chat with Bracky?
End share chat? Start share chat.
There's only two of us though. Where's Bracky?
I'm not streaming. I
Oh, you're
thought
not?
that
Oh.
was muted.
Okay.
It's okay. No problem. Wait, I want update my stream title for a bit. Last time I forgot to put you guys' name on it. Or does it appear normally?
If we're collaborating, it should appear at the top.
Oh yeah, it does appear. Okay, we're good. Alright, nice. And now we just take screenshots on its own.
And then if we go over here, we can start the game.
No boarding?
Tenderfoot is easy mode, and then there's like, what is it? Just peak.
I guess we can do the easy one for now.
It's not too hard even at the regular one.
Hello, Peter. Hello, Sorrel. I don't know if I'm even hearable.
I hear you.
If you're near us, they should be able to hear you.
Tadpole Scout.
I just,
Oh,
Right?
On my OBS, like the game audio is quieter, so if you hear people in game, that's also quieter.
Oh, I think I have that too, but I think you are loud enough on my end. I think, hopefully.
Roar.
In a good way, in a good way. How are the cutie today? Wow, I'm doing pretty okay. I just had an amazing morning and also a weird morning as well. Oh shit,
Hello.
did we fall? Oh my god, we fall. We survived.
Yes. Ooh, what's this? A rescue claw.
I hate that noise.
Oh my god, it's so good!
Oh no. Alright. Never abandon a friend in need.
I have lantern.
Okay.
And I have a flare.
So, if your stamina bar ever gets full, like of bad stuff, you die.
Oh, okay. A guidebook.
So carrying stuff gives you... Wait,
How to not die. Never abandon a friend in need. Keep moving, sprint. Oh, that's it. Okay. Do we all have a backpack?
there's only one at the beginning.
Oh, then it's all good. I have a lantern and I have a flare.
Now we have to go up there. Wait, can I? Go up that mountain.
That way?
That's Big Bomb.
The big mountain. I mean, we can just climb, so should be fine.
Yeah. There's also boxes along the way that have stuff in them that can be useful. Like I found this scout saver, or what is it? Rescue claw.
Oh, I have a buckle. It's so good. Can we open up the presents?
Yeah, those are the stuff.
Oh, it's a luggage. Scout cannon? Can I use the cannon?
If you want to, but it's useful.
It
You
does
can
look
put it
very
away by
useful.
changing which inventory slot you're on. There's a lot of stuff.
More flare.
These usually have a lot of good stuff. Energy drink. I'll take one.
Energy drink.
Oh no, that's the wrong one. I thought
Can I drink it now?
it gives you bonus speed if you want. I drank one thinking it was a different item. Now I'm out of stamina.
Oh. I'm gaming. Oh, why am I sleepy? It
You run
says?
out of... Yeah, you get sleepiness after an energy drink. You get a crash.
Oh. Do we recover from that?
It goes away after a while.
Okay, we good. Oh yeah, I did see it. Okay.
Gonna try and climb down here.
Yeah. Oh my god, I'm gaming.
Where'd you go?
I'm
Oh, you
in
fell
the
down
hole.
there too. If we're running out of food, we can also get coconuts from these trees.
Oh, I want coconut. I have a bit of a yellow bar.
Oh my god, I've been talking the whole time. I keep forgetting to press the button.
You
I-
can
I-
leave it open.
Yeah, I
don't
think you can
mind
leave
it.
it open. It's okay.
So then you hear yourself.
It's okay. It's not
That's
too
fine.
loud. Yeah, it's only a little bit.
I learned to suffer.
Just drop it, it's great.
Where's the coconut?
You can see them from the bottom. There's one over there on that tree.
Oh, oh, that's a coconut.
You have a long hand.
I kind of
Yes.
do.
If you middle click, you point.
Coconut huff. Pick up. So I can just eat this?
Yeah. You can also cook it, but we don't have fire with us.
Oh, I eat it. Oh, my yellow bar is a lot smaller now.
If you cook it, it gives you double food
Oh,
or double hunger replenishment. Watch out with the jellyfish.
ayoy.
Oh, we lost Kira.
I found more coconut. More coconut. Ayoy.
To eat coconut, you have to throw it.
I threw it. One went
I think
missing.
one half fell into the ground.
I threw it too hard. I'm too strong. I'll eat one more and
Yeah,
then we
but
can.
There's also food in the luggage, and there's also other types of fruit that we can grab.
Oh, okay. I'm just gonna eat this one then.
Be careful with these.
Oh, jellyfish?
If you touch it, you get poisoned.
Oh, shit, I don't like getting poisoned. Where's Becky? Ooh. I'm okay. Is Zeus a dog?
know
I
where
always
Bracky
thought he's a dragon. Well, a cool dog could be a dragon.
I think, is that Bracky over there?
Is that Becky?
I think Bracky's over there. I think that box is open.
Oh, Becky, Becky, Becky. Snow pile.
Bracky?
Becky.
Hello, Bracky. That's food that has 4 charges. I think.
Oh, I can feed you.
Yeah, you can feed me. I don't need it though.
Oh,
Um,
force
I have
feeding is a thing.
coconut here if you want to eat coconut. Yeah, you can feed other people stuff you find.
Wow.
If you have space, you should hold this.
I have a
Oh, and rope.
I can have 3 items though. Do you think we need
Yeah,
lantern?
you need a backpack to get more items. No, we don't need a lantern.
Alright, I'll just throw it away then.
There's no darkness in this game.
Nice. I'll pick up the granola bar. Granola? Oh,
The
it's a
flare
food.
for us is useful. Is useless, I mean. But there's
Yeah,
There's
I
a-
don't need that.
there's a difficulty setting where you need them, but we're not doing that.
So we can just throw them away.
Yeah, we can throw away the flares.
I'm so sad about leaving the binoculars behind.
Why did you want to look at me?
I want to
Yes.
look at the cool dog. Oh, poison, poison. Poison, poison. 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 Look, look, poison, look. Look, poison, look. Look.
Also, the more stuff you carry, the less stamina you have. So it gets harder. It's like taking damage. I'll try and go
Oh,
this way.
like a brown. Oh, the brown part. Okay.
Yeah. That's why we can help each other. Someone with less carry weight or carrying less stuff can help someone that's carrying a lot of stuff.
Like you're carrying a lot of stuff. Oh. Oh, poison, 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 poison. Oh, that's so scary. Thank you.
I think this way.
The fog rises?
Yes. Now as we go, a fog will go up and give us cold. And if we die of cold, we die.
Oh, so we have to climb faster?
Yeah, it's not fast. It takes like 20 minutes for it to go all the way up to the
Oh,
top of the mountain.
I thought we could just
Which
climb
we can,
slowly.
oh no, I'm out of stamina.
I can climb up first. I'm doing the nene.
We have to go this way. Or we have to go up the mountain somehow.
Can I eat that?
What is that?
It's a
Oh,
present.
Green.
these are green.
I want to eat it.
These might be poisonous.
Oh, I don't know what poison is. I'm a kobold.
They're poisonous.
They look poisonous, yeah. Wow,
Poison is like
delicious.
sleepiness, where it just goes away after a while.
Oh, then it's not too bad then. Does it lower the yellow hunger? Oh,
Yeah,
Break, you found
It's-
something.
It fills you up a little bit. Bracky found an orange luggage.
It's first aid kit.
If we can hold those, it'd be useful. We don't need a lot of them.
I
They
have.
heal you for
Ditto.
1 full health bar of damage.
I've been praised.
Hello, Evie.
Hi, Evie. Hi, Grippy.
Yeah, poison does go away after a while.
Oh, is that first aid kit?
I keep forgetting to press push to talk.
Right, yeah, I think it's okay to leave it open. I'm okay with that.
I,
Do you guys need food? I have a coconut that we can eat.
I have a granola
I-
bar.
I ate.
I also cooked this coconut, so it gives stamina.
Ooh, how do you cook it? I want it.
Yummy.
Holy food. Wow, that heals entirely.
Yeah, it heals double than a regular coconut because it's cooked.
I'm cooked.
We're also at the very far left of the map. We might have to go to the right.
Should be fine. Hold me. Hold me.
Yeah,
Oh.
I don't see a way up through here.
Poison.
Maybe that way.
Poison. Look. Poison. Look. Look. Poison.
Bracky's not talking.
Uh-oh.
I
Poison.
know.
Um, we might be able to go that way.
That way?
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure though.
I think we have to go up the mountain.
Looks like
No,
it.
we can't go that way. That way's too far. We have to find a different way up.
Okay. Oh, the poison is translucent. Oh my god.
Hello, the forgetful legend.
Hello.
It looks so shiny. Hi, Forgetful. I kinda wanna... I wanna touch it. Am I climbing the
Could
wrong
you
way?
not climb sideways?
You can. You have to move to the like A and D.
Oh, we climbed to where we are facing, and then according to the orientation, we climbed up, down, left, right.
You can't. You can tell where you can stand by like if there is this top texture of the rock.
Yeah.
Eh?
Oh, I'm falling. We could take this bridge, but they can break, so be careful.
Is there a bridge? Oh, that's a bridge. Oh, okay. Bridge. Bridge.
Bridge.
If too many of us stand on it, it could fall.
Bridge.
But it's random.
Bridge.
Do
Bridge.
you want to go next?
I can go next. And I don't want to run, it's so scary. Bridge. Grab me. I've been grabbed.
We can maybe go this way. My DSR going to change my antidepressants over some strong ones. Anxiety I've had been playing struggling. Or I should be on antidepressants and anxiety medication. They're expensive.
I never knew about like antidepressants being a thing, to be honest. I'm trying to think I'm gonna do half usual dose for 2 weeks now. Oh, so more medicine. Grab me.
Oh, you're up.
I wanna grab Bracky. Can I just like...
This looks so silly.
Nini?
Bracky has angry eyes.
Can we climb up the tree and then make it to the bridge?
Maybe.
I can try.
Not too many people.
I don't have
on the
enough
bridge.
stamina.
Uh,
Maybe if I climb this first. Or... Did you take damage?
I think I got up.
Yeah, you're up.
Hold. Grab.
Okay, let me get off the bridge so it doesn't get too heavy.
Oh. Did I do it? Ay, 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 I'm too heavy. My leg hurts.
This is where you fell.
I think I fall. Hi, Hanatoro.
I might be able to grab you from here if you have enough
He's made
stamina.
it.
My stamina is a lot lower now.
Or if you throw the rope at me, I could put it down.
I am not. I tried throwing stuff and I don't think I'm good at it.
You just hold Q and it fills a meter, and then you throw it at me.
Or I can use the cannon. Do you want to try the cannon, Becky?
Oh, I'm slipping. I'm slipping. I'm slipping.
Well,
Whoa.
I don't think. Wait, it's down there. I'm gonna get it.
Did it go too far? You could also use a cannon, yeah.
What I...
You have
you-
to set the angle, and then you place it down.
Can you only shoot upwards, or is my mouse wheel not working?
You can change the angle. I don't remember how.
Okay, maybe like this. Hopefully that's right.
It's gonna go
Please.
the way you're facing.
Nice. Oh. What did it show the other way then?
You were facing that direction.
Yeah, but the the hologram shows the it's pointing at my face. So I thought
Should I fuse it?
yeah, I wanna get in.
It's gonna throw
You're
you
gonna
down.
fly
the
off the mountain though.
It's okay, it's gonna be
Right.
worth it. Oh here, that you know you can have this.
I don't have inventory space.
How do I
Don't
get
die,
in?
Tiora.
I won't. I think.
I'm pretty sure. Just did it time.
How do I get in?
Are you in?
Am I in?
Yeah, they're in.
Okay, I'm in.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
What's happening to my character? Whoa! I'm alive! I'm alive. Holy heck, I'm alive.
I'm gonna go get Tira.
I'm alive. All right, let's climb up.
Are you here? Hello?
Hi.
How was it?
That was so good though. I want more. I didn't
Did you
take any damage. No, I didn't take any damage. You need to look at outline, but the shape shows like it's pointing directly at my face, so I thought I need to do it that way. Oh, I have no stamina.
Hello?
I'm
Hello.
back.
Did you take damage?
No, no damage taken.
Okay. We can try the rope again.
Is there a room?
I don't know if Bracky found it.
I'm gonna eat this granola bar. I don't know what it is. Eat. Oh,
Can you grab it?
I can try. I grab it.
Okay. Now we have a little bit of rope left.
Nice.
Do you want a little bit of rope?
Sure. I took it.
There you go.
We're such pro mountain climbers.
Yeah.
Can you
Yeah.
grab me?
Oh.
I got you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think we can climb up here.
We're so good at this game.
We're like the best climbers already. I'm good. I just ate the granola bar.
Could you feed me?
Oh, didn't you have the scout cookies?
I do. I don't know how much they regenerate. I'm just getting confused.
They do like 10% of the whole bar.
Oh, that's not.
Can you?
This is
Can
barely the first level, so you can. We still have a lot of food that we can find.
grab me?
There's a
We're
present.
almost at the top. Yeah, there's a present over there.
I like presents.
It might be far.
Yeah, that present is not really accessible.
Is it not?
I can point at it.
It looks possible.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go grab it.
We could
Have
do it. But,
fun.
yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm
That
sure. I'm
doesn't
sure.
seem like a great idea.
We still have a lot of time. The fog isn't coming up yet.
Big luggage.
Big luggage.
Checkpoint flag.
Checkpoint flag. I don't know what that is.
Trail mix.
Oh, I got cold. Oh,
I'm
wait.
cold. I'm cold.
I think we're in the fog.
Oh crap! I'm gonna use the first aid kit real quick. I'm healing my legs.
Oh, the fog. Oh, we're on the side of the map.
Oh, we should go.
I don't know what the checkpoint flag does.
I ate the trail mix.
I'm just gonna drop it. I don't know what it does. Yeah, the fog gives us cold. And it kills us slowly.
Yeah, I don't like it.
I dropped the checkpoint flag. I hope it wasn't useful.
Well, it's okay. I don't know what it
was
does.
the best item ever.
Whoa. It brings us to the end immediately. I've been grabbed.
I grabbed you. You.
I'm good.
There's more luggage over here.
Oh, more loot? I got poison.
that's a good one.
Poison.
Hello.
Poison.
Is there anything cool in that luggage? I still have a
A
spot.
rope cannon.
I want that
Oh,
food.
there's also food over here if we need it.
I'm gonna go grab that food real quick. Hopefully this is
Do you
fine.
need it all?
I need a what?
I'm eating this floor berry.
I'm eating 2 of them.
There's another one over here if you need.
I can grab 1. Yeah, it's not heavy. Alright.
A blowgun and trail mix. I found a blowgun.
Gun? I go now, could have been good. Okay, Evie, have good now. Blowgun?
Yes.
What happens if I...
I drop all my stuff and I fall asleep.
Oh no. Oh, it's a tranquilizer dot?
Yes.
Well, are you hungry?
No, I found fruit.
Well, I'm gonna eat this one then. So that I have space to
We can
hold
shoot
it.
Bracky from here.
I can hold it. I have an extra space.
Okay, you can hold it.
Yeah.
It's not very useful ever, but you can have it.
Be careful, I might misclick or something. Hi Jokey. Hi Dragon.
You make
Hello,
your way
Jokey.
through here quite easily. I'm above you. Hello.
Bracky.
Hello. We're almost at the peak.
Nice. We're so good.
Oh no, I'm falling.
I've been grabbed. Oh oh.
There's a lot of coconut.
Yes. This statue right here, this revives everyone who died, but if no one dies, we get a special item out of it,
Ooh.
which I really
The
want.
special item was my game lagged out.
Can you grab the energy drink out of the backpack?
How do I do that?
Hold E on the backpack and move your mouse to the energy drink? Yes. I put the rope in there.
Nice.
Wait, what did you kept the energy drink? Okay.
Not me.
Oh, we have hot dogs now.
Oh my god. Oh, we have an extra backpack here.
So this, yeah. Now someone else can have a backpack too.
How do I grab it?
So this rope, it's anti-gravity.
Oh.
So instead of flowing down, it flows up so you can climb it. But the bad thing about it is that if you drop it, it flies away.
Oh no.
So when we light the campfire, it finishes the level.
Oh. So we did it?
And we can cook all this stuff in the campfire.
I'm gonna grab more
And it'll
coconut
heal
here.
us double. Okay.
Coconut. Did the other one fall off?
I saw one roll away a bit.
Oh
It's over here.
no. Oh, okay, okay.
We can't carry that much.
I
I'd
guess we
say
can-
keep your marshmallow or your hot dog in your inventory. Just cook it and then keep it, because it's very good food.
What if I use the blow dart?
You can.
Okay. Oh. Oh, you really do drop all the stuff. Did you die? I think Zeus died. We can carry Zeus now. Well, I didn't know the blow dart's gonna kill.
Well, this is
Hello.
sleep. Oh, hello?
Oh, wait, he's
I'm
back.
back.
I threw a snowball at Zeus. I thought I did that.
No, it was a blow dart.
I don't know how I managed to grab the snowball.
There's snow
I did see it
everywhere.
took ice damage. Yeah, there's snow piles. Okay, so I'm gonna light the campfire and cook your food once. If you cook it twice, it burns, and
Okay.
it's not useful. And I'd say keep your stick with whatever your item is in your inventory,
So,
because there's one for each of us.
and climb past the shore. Oh. Alright, it's cooked.
It looks burnt.
No, mine looks good. It says cooked hot dog.
Coconut is kind of bad to carry since it's super heavy.
Right, so I'm
But
just
we
gonna
could
eat
eat
it.
as much as we need right now.
Right, I'm gonna eat. I'm full.
It's these two if you need them. They also, if cooked food gives you bonus stamina, if you see under your stamina bar.
Oh, I have almost like
Yeah.
another stamina bar.
Yeah. I'm gonna eat one more. I don't need it, but I'm going to.
Yeah, do you need it, Brekkie?
Okay.
I don't need it.
Then I'll be a greedy bull. I'll just eat it.
I haven't seen this biome.
Enjoy.
This biome's new to me.
Whoa, I hate it.
There's luggage.
I saw present. I want loot. Hey, you okay?
Hi. I threw a snowball at Bracky. I fell.
Mushroom. Does it bounce? Ooh. Oh my god, what the heck?
There's water.
I'm being blown off. What am I? What's going on?
I just got blown off by wind.
What is there?
Yeah, I
Is there a spider of some sort?
There are bugs. I don't know if they're in this biome.
I got an achievement saying that I got poisoned by a spider and I survived.
Oh. I guess you did get poisoned by a spider and survive.
Yeah, and I got webbed up and I survived.
Oh, you got a blue mushroom. I don't know if that's poison. Oh, that's a good one.
Oh, you can have it.
Wait, I want to... Well, not to have it, but like to put it away, because that's a very good item.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
I have room in my backpack. If we're...
I can put it in your backpack.
I want to eat this shroom.
I don't know what it does.
Sounds like a great idea.
Yeah. I got a new thing. I don't know what
Did
it
you get
is.
poisoned?
No, pterodactyl.
Oh. What color is the...
Um,
What color was the debuff?
almost the same as the weight.
Oh, that's poison.
It's almost the same as the weight color.
Oh, I think... Oh, it's... I think I know what this is.
See, I told you I hate this biome. I already got strangled by a spider or a bug.
I got some
one thing I do
spore
know-
effect.
About this biome is that there's fake campers that will try and attack us.
Oh,
Oh, there's heal root here.
I'm okay. Medicinal root? Does it heal?
I don't want this. Yes, it heals.
Well, I have almost 40% broken heart.
Oh, you have damage?
Yeah, I was
We can heal you with
bad.
a bandage.
I was badly damaged. Oh, there's a first aid kit and a rope.
I can use this on you.
You can,
Wait.
yeah, sure.
Rock. Another cannon.
Oh, I feel much better. I kinda want the cannon. I have this 0.75 meters of rope.
Yeah, you can drop that one.
Okay.
Oh, the wind is going again.
I have cannon. Can I use the first aid
That's
kit?
the one I had used last time. Do you need to use the first aid kit?
I have a tiny, well, not a tiny, I have about 10% of the broken heart. Or is it too wasteful?
I think you save it because the first aid kit heals 100%.
Oh crap, okay. Well, I might have to part way with my buko. It's been nice.
You can hold it, but just not in your inventory. If your inventory is full, you can still hold something in your hands.
Oh,
I have one more inventory spot.
You can hold the rope.
he can hold this.
Yay. What?
Oh,
Oh, I can hold that. But I cannot climb like this, right?
no, you can't climb like that.
Oh crap.
You stay here.
I'll stay here with the spooters.
You have to leave.
Yeah, we have to start moving. Oh, there's another, a green mushroom.
Oh, I want mushroom.
Let's see what this says.
What do you find?
Oh, I can't see. I'm blind.
Oh, your
Oh my god, why is your face
your
like-
eyes are like
I ate a green mushroom.
whoa.
blind.
You are Cyclops. I'll
I
part
don't
ways
know what
with
this
my
looks like.
buko.
We need
I'll
to
take
start
a-
moving up.
I'll take a screenshot there. Okay, and then I'll show it to you
I'm
after.
still lost.
I don't know how to guide you.
I can see you. I can see stuff close to me, but I can't see far.
Oh, okay, okay.
I
Then
guess we'll start moving.
I guess we can
I'm on
try
top
to
of the
climb.
tree.
Are we trying to climb the tree?
Hello?
Yeah.
It's your. Hi. Where do we go? We have to go up the mountain.
I have no idea. I guess I guess we can try climbing the tree.
Hello?
Okay. Hello. Oh, I can see again.
Oh, nice.
Hi, Bracky. Hi, Bracky.
Hello?
Oh, I have really low stamina. Oh, the cannon is heavy.
Good girl.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh. Wind again.
oh, no wonder I can control myself.
It's Hankin Windy.
Just be careful with the mushrooms on, or with those things. If they look like that, like moss clumps, they're dangerous.
I wanna
it's
eat
much
it.
wanna do.
Oh, there's a big mushroom over here.
I wanna eat it.
Are these? These are poisonous. This one?
This one looks like it's gonna
This
hurt
one might
me.
not be poisonous.
This is a big one.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. So for these mushrooms that I'm holding, and this one that I found that I dropped over here, there's two kinds that look very similar, but have a slight difference. And I don't know, one of them's poisonous and the other one's not.
Well, I can always give it a try. I'll eat the cluster one.
Okay.
Nyeh, 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 nyeh. I feel fine. Yeah, there's no poison. Cluster
This
is fine.
dangerous. Oh, I'm poisoned. I'm poisoned.
Oh, I see. Oh, I'm poisoned by something? Why am I
I don't
suddenly
know if it's
poisoned?
that fog.
I think we have to take the vines up.
Oh, is it
I think
because
we have
we're...
to climb a tree, maybe?
I think it's because we're too down, far down? It's like a fog.
We have to climb the mountain.
I have close to no stamina now.
Oh, there's also a fog over here.
Eh. Oh, it's those weird red fog. Oh, okay.
Oh, there's a mushroom over here.
Do you
This one's
need
yellow.
some Food.
I want it. Thank you. I feel weird. Whoa. Holy, I'm...
Like dizzy, I could sort of.
Do I have speed?
Are you okay?
I think I'm okay.
I don't know.
I think I saw space for a bit. I love that. Can I have
Do you
more
need
of that?
anything to eat, Tira?
No, I'm good. I'm only have debuff other than hunger. And Kobo not hungry.
Oh, you can climb that way to your right.
Who, what, where?
Ooh, Racky's going. Oh, sorry, that's poison. Get out of it.
Ay, 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 ay. I have no stamina. I have 5% stamina, I think. Oh,
Oh no!
oh! It's okay,
Wait,
I'm
let's try
okay.
again.
Whoa. Whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. I'm okay.
This might have been a bad idea.
Yeah,
Oh, we can try again.
I'm okay. Where are you guys?
Where are you?
It's okay. I can climb back up.
Okay, you can have this back. It's dangerous.
I love that. That was like a roller coaster ride.
I'm sorry about the manga.
I see you guys. I see you guys.
Do you have? You might need to eat a first aid kit. Oh, I'm falling.
Oh, first aid kit? I have one.
If you're too damaged, you might need to use it.
I'm actually not too damaged. I am like heavy, a little bit hungry, a little bit damaged, but a lot of that brown
Correct me,
stuff.
Nicholas.
Hi, Zuri.
Oh,
Hi, Becky.
We
Poison?
can use this.
Whoa, it flies up.
Yeah.
It's such a weird rope. Brecky is cozy? I agree. Brecky is very cozy.
Raw. Hello. Hello, Sri. Hello, Evie.
Entire
You can
rope.
climb the rope.
Holy heck, the rope goes upwards.
I'm getting blown by the wind.
I somehow fell down.
Getting blown by the wind.
You got blown by the wind. Are you okay?
I think I'm okay.
sorry.
I'm using the first
Are
aid
you sure?
kit. I'm using the first aid kit. I'm dying. Ow, ow, ow. Alright, I'm back at full health.
Where are you?
I'm down here.
Oh, there's another red mushroom.
I used the first aid kit.
That's fine.
Did I got blown over by the wind?
Yes.
Crap.
You have to jump this way. Yeah.
Can you still make it?
I made it.
Okay. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no.
Wind.
Oh no. Grab the wall if you can.
I feel fine.
There's a vine over here that we could probably take.
Yeah, that's what I think. I need
oh
some
no,
more stuff.
that vine is far. Never mind. I
think-
might fall off the mountain.
Oh yeah, that's.
Oh, it's over
That
here.
seems dangerous.
It's over here. Oh,
Oh my god. I'm dying.
What happened?
why are you dying?
Oh, poison.
So there's some stuff.
Yeah, I felt it too. Is it coming up?
We can take this vine.
The vine seems to lead to some red stuff.
Do you have enough stamina?
I do.
Probably not.
I don't think so.
Oh.
This is okay.
Ah, I fell down again.
Help?
I fell down.
Right, baby?
I saw a ghost just now? What the fuck? Am I hallucinating? Did I eat too much, like, mushrooms and shit? Hi?
I don't think I
Hello,
had
Tiora.
a lot of success.
Oh. What happened? What happened? Did
I
you...
fell.
then that's Ricky now.
I tried talking to Bracky. Hello, Bracky.
Hello?
Hi, I'm over here. Hi.
I know, I've seen you. You cute ghost.
I thought I was hallucinating. I ate too much
I-
shrooms and shit.
I get the feeling that I was not a good path.
Yeah, maybe not the fine.
You should be able to make it. I just had no stamina.
I mean,
I was
neither.
damaged and I had nothing.
Windy.
What happened? Oh.
Quit looking at me.
Where's Bricky? Oh, I found Bricky.
Hello?
I'm on top. Look up.
Hello?
Look up.
I think we should just chill here until we die to the fog.
But then there's the bridge here. Maybe we can go?
But where does that lead? That leads nowhere. There's a
Oh, there's a
lunch box on
vine.
that branch.
Oh, I had all the good stuff. Oh no, you have a chain launcher.
I wanna...
Bracky has a chain launcher.
I don't know
Oh,
what that means.
It makes a vine.
I wanna eat the hot dog. Ooh, that heals everything. I'm gonna try crossing this bridge. Win! Oh my god, win! Woohoo! Yeah, I'm grabbing! Hiya, the fucking win. I survived.
I think you can make a chain to that luggage, and then there's a vine on that luggage. Oh, that's an ancient luggage.
Guys, I saw something over there. I don't know what it is.
I have a gun.
Look, there's something there.
That's an ancient luggage. It has a magic item, but it hurts you to open.
I can get hurt.
Good luck.
And
I'll be
and then there's
fine.
a vine on that branch that leads to the mountain.
Oh, you're right.
Is there?
Ancient luggage. I got cure all.
Oh, that's cure all.
Is it good?
It's really good.
I obtain a
It heals everything.
mystical item. Oh. Well, I'm keeping it for now.
It heals poison, hunger,
And then there's
curse.
a vine here.
Win!
Windy.
Win! Aye. I'm okay.
There's a vine directly under you, Tiora.
Alright, let me try grabbing it. I might not have enough stamina actually.
You have a lot of bonus stamina.
Weird.
Oh
And
wait,
then
you're
jump to the
right.
right.
I feel like we can get poisoned here. Oh,
Ay, 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 ay.
It's fine. You have cure all.
Yeah. Oh, there's a hole
but we
here.
only have one. Are we safe in this
Cure all
hole
has
here?
like 10, like 4 or 5 uses.
Can I use one and then
You
I'll
can
let...
use it right now.
Yeah.
We can go up here.
Oh wow.
Can't get over how cute that ghost is.
Ricky, you need cure all? Are you okay?
I'm fine.
Okay. Whoa, I...
Wind.
Oh wait, no, the one I feel like I
I
was
don't know what it
flying.
looked like. I guess I could look at the stream.
My screen?
Oh, what I looked like. Oh, the eye patch cat face.
Yeah.
I don't remember how you get the eye patch.
Guess we can
No.
climb up here.
I think you should go first. I will slow us down now.
Grab.
Oh, you.
Fine.
About this way.
Ooh.
This way looks interesting.
Also, every achievement you get is a new cosmetic.
Oh, nice. I got a new achievement just now. Maybe I should let Breaky hold this new cure all.
For the achievement.
Yeah, that's an achievement.
Can't wait for it to roll down the mountain.
You got the achievement?
Yes.
Nice. I think I can climb up that one.
Yeah. Careful of wind. This looks flammable.
Or I can climb first and I can grab you.
Yeah.
I'm ready to grab.
I don't think you can see them.
Yeah, I
Oh, there
can't,
they are.
but I saw the name.
I delayed it a bit because.
Oh, there is a spider. What the heck?
Fight.
Yeah.
Forgot.
Should I save my blow dart?
Careful. Careful. There's a pile of poop.
Win. What are we made of? We can just grab onto any surface.
We're made of
Geckos.
child.
We're made of child. Whoa, shiny. Holy shit.
Can we get this
You might be
way?
able to go into that cave.
But there's a lot of red fog in there. I don't trust it. I don't want to.
There's a vine directly behind you, Bracky, that you can climb up to the tree and then take another vine back. Or I don't know.
I was thinking that I can climb to
Okay.
that mushroom.
Yeah.
I think it,
Whoa, what
oh, there's a
happened?
spider chasing
Where
you.
did you go?
Why did I fall off?
It's about to
Oh.
fly away.
I had like the tiniest
Mhm.
tumble.
Well,
There's a spider to your
hello?
right, watch out.
I don't like
Wait,
that.
what?
There's a spider looking for Tura.
I don't like being grabbed by a spider again. Alright, let me grab that mushroom real quick. Win! Alright, let me climb to this mushroom.
Oh, yeah, you can go from that mushroom to the edge
Yeah.
next to it.
I'll catch you if you fall down.
I think I can grab you from this mushroom first. It is kind of a hard climb.
I ate something, so it should be fine.
Now we can climb up.
If you go to the left, there's a little ledge. Where Bracky went.
Okay,
I don't think you can make this. You should go back
Oh,
down.
where did you go?
Yeah.
Bracky went
Oh,
left from
there's
here.
luggage here.
Oh, okay.
I got a portable stove.
We can cook something.
You can. Yeah, you can use it to cook stuff, but you don't
Win.
have anything to cook. It's good to keep if you find a lot of berries or that mushroom that's on the ground over there that does weird stuff.
There's a mushroom.
No.
Brekkie mushroom. Brekkie.
Oh. I
I'm
do
gonna
not
look
want
up
to
what the
eat
mushrooms
that.
do.
I'm seeing space again.
We can go up this mushroom maybe.
It does cure a little bit of hunger. I think if we climb this stump,
Red and
Go.
yellow are good.
Hmm.
Green and blue are bad.
nah, they're all good. I'm up.
I didn't take any damage.
Where did Brekkie go?
I fell.
Whoa, it's okay, I can grab you here.
That's fine.
Win!
Rocky's a spider.
Brekkie's a spider.
Alright, now what?
I guess we continue going up.
We go to the peak.
This way seems skills.
Oh my god, I never knew I'm afraid of heights, now I do.
I kinda wanna wait for the next wound. Oh, it goes in here.
I don't think I can make it. Oh, I can step here.
Stand there, that's helpful.
Oh, it is possible. There's like a place where you can step on. And then you can kind of climb sideways here, I guess. Or I can grab you immediately. There. Careful, Stinky. Oh, Stinky!
Pushed into it. Okay, onto the mushroom again, I guess.
Or into this little stick? Let me try.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a place to step up here.
Okay. I'm coming.
I got you.
Yay. We're such a good team.
Heck yeah. Too bad the veteran fell down.
Yeah.
Is there a problem?
I see some problem. We're missing one teammate.
We're just so much better than Zeus at this game. Over here. Oh, there's a spider.
And a weird bug?
So,
Oh, I see it.
Is that a spider? That looks like a ladybug, but not lady.
I have the bug phobia setting on, so it looks like a bing bong.
Oh! I have a cannon. Still. Oh. Someone fished a couple. Akko fished a couple.
hello, Aquaboard. What do you
Hi,
think
Akko.
about this way?
Which way?
So the,
Yeah, I was looking
there's
at
a
that
spider out there
way.
too.
I was thinking that maybe we can use the cannon to fly up to that ledge right there.
If that's possible,
I think so.
there's a
I don't
spider
think it goes
around the
straight up.
corner here.
I can make it go kind of straight up. Well, I'm hoping this
Spider's
works.
there.
If this one aims at the
Why
different direction again, I'm gonna leave a bad review.
When
Ah!
Oh, you're gonna hit the wall directly.
I'm grabbing, I'm grabbing, I'm grabbing.
That's a bad angle.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I trust.
We'll try it out anyways.
Whoa! Does it hurt? It feels like you had a concussion just now. Here, I want to try it.
Okay. Gonna get wind of the same and you just get blown down the mountain.
Yeah, head kind of
Well,
hurts.
that's good.
I guess we can try. No.
I think you have to go to the right.
Yeah, I'll try to find a way. I'm a little bit hungry. Brecky, you have something to eat?
Bracky has a cure-all.
Oh,
It works as food, but it's... Oh, there's mushrooms below.
Mushrooms?
I see them. Yeah, like directly behind you. There's mushrooms a little bit down the cliff. To your right. If you look down here, there should be mushrooms.
Oh, that one?
Yeah, there's 2 of them.
I
Just be careful with the one that explodes.
Yeah.
I have a rope in my backpack.
Well, I'm gonna eat all of them.
And I have an energy drink and a cure-all.
You could use the energy drink. It gives you infinite stamina for like 5 or 10 seconds. You
Whoa.
can climb up and drop the rope for Tilra.
I have full stamina now. I could try climbing to the right side. Or left side, sorry.
That sounds dangerous.
I can try.
What else am I gonna do, right? I'm just more worried about that spider that's like right above you.
Yeah. I made it.
Wind.
So, the red mushrooms are always a good effect. Oh, there's a spider right there.
Yeah.
Okay, the question is, can I make it? How close was that?
I had no
I'd
stamina
say
left.
Drink a bit of the cure-all. And drink the energy drink.
Yeah, I think Brecky should use the energy drink. I literally had 0 stamina towards the end.
And I'll use the energy drink.
It's
Oh,
okay.
you also have a python. A python resets your stamina on the wall. If you want to use it. Oh, bye, Bracky.
Oh no! Shit, I should have gone closer.
Bye.
No!
Oh no, I was trying to say to come closer, but I didn't.
Wait, Brecky died?
I'm
Bracky's
dying
dying right now. They're in the fog.
Oh no! What do I do?
We continue, Tilra.
No! Brecky!
You need to save us at the top.
I'm not dead.
Oh, Brecky's not dead.
They're freezing. Oh, they're freezing
I'm
to death.
freezing and I'm getting.
Yeah, the fog is rising now. I saw. Oh, Brecky, I have to continue. I'm sorry.
Get the other red mushroom to your left.
Okay. Not this one, right?
No, the purple one is random, good or bad. The red ones are always good.
Okay. Why is there a thunk? Cluster is fine. I ate cluster.
That one is fine, yes.
Right, here we go.
Hello, Bracky. You're so
Hello.
angry.
Right. Oh no.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I lunged the wrong way. I tried to say that I'm like, you have to come closer, but I forgot to press push to talk.
Yeah, that was my bad. Did Zeus left?
Zeus hates us.
Uh-oh, Zeus hates us now. Game crash.
Zeus hates us. Can you stand here? There's a bit of...
Yeah, I can stand, but there was a wind just now.
Yeah. I don't like using the in-game chat.
I feel okay with using this in-game chat.
It's probably salty because you hear my stuff. There's a luggage
Oh,
behind you. Oh, go back.
wait,
Oh, the fog is coming.
there's a luggage there. Oh,
Oh,
is
you
there...
saw this luggage. I saw
Yeah.
a different luggage that was much easier to get.
Oh crap. Oh no.
I think you just gotta keep going because the fog.
Yeah, the fog is like rising very quickly for some reason.
I don't like the fog.
Yeah.
One more time.
Kobo must press. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, win. Bracky can invite again, ask Zeus.
I did it. This doesn't look good.
Crap, I couldn't make it up. This might be it, chat. The team. That's it. I couldn't make it up.
Hello, Zeus.
Mushroom.
Hello.
Oh, mushroom. Oh, they gave me infinite stamina. Go, 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 go.
Oh, you fell?
Yeah. No, I couldn't get up. It's too high up. Oh, wait, wait.
Oh.
The fog, the fog. I have no stamina left. I'm too cold.
Oh no.
Yeah, I'm too cold.
So sad.
This is so sad.
Now mind your way.
Da-na-na. Da-na-na. The kobold is down. No. I'm cold. And the wind's coming. And I'm hungry. And I'm cold. I'm gonna join. I'm gonna become one of you.
Gonna become a skeleton.
I'm gonna become a skeleton. Wow, this is truly a slow death, huh? Holy shit. It's so fucked up.
You could jump off and take all damage.
Yeah, you can just jump off the mountain. That's what I did after I fell. Well, no, you're dead.
Eh?
Whee!
Whoa.
And if you hold E, you...
Give up. I become skeleton. Your body was never found. Oh my god, that's fucked up. I got a new hat. And a new fit. And a new hat. And a new hat. And a new hat. Oh, there was only 1 hour? Wow.
Oh, hello?
I think I'm back.
Yeah, we were
Did
saying-
Zeus laugh again?
Zeus hates us.
Zeus hates us. Zeus with the crying face.
I got 2 new hats.
I can be a mummy.
This is perfect. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Look, I got strangled by a spooder and I got this fit. I can pull you down while you're climbing.
Stop saving me. We won.
Yeah, we won.
We did it.
That's the end goal, right? To become a skeleton.
Yeah. I'm a wizard now.
We could try again.
We could. Wait, I have a wizard hat, I think. Yeah, I do. It says I eat.
Bracky's so angry.
Bracky's scary.
Then now we're hugging.
Nice. We're hugging with our passport.
If you hold your passport while you're right next to someone, you can sometimes grab them with it.
Oh,
There we go. Just take it out and put it away. And you can grab someone with it. There you go.
oh my god, we're hugging.
Is this your personal space?
I don't know. Is there a personal space in this game?
There you go.
Can we double
Bracky's too
hug?
angry to speak.
Oh, we double hug.
Let go of me.
No.
I'm free.
I wanna hug Deccan. Oh, cool dog.
Balls.
Balls? Oh my god, ball.
I'm bad.
I wanna. I thought I could slam and dunk.
No, you knocked me over.
Okay, can I knock people over with this? It doesn't seem to hurt though. Oh my god, I'm
There you
dribbling.
go. Dang, you had to.
Oh. That's how people play basketball, right? No ball from you, no ball.
Dang it.
And then they throw.
Hello.
Hello,
Oh my god, I actually did it.
Thank you for raiding Tilt's channel.
Oh my god, come on, go! Just in time for the sick loop, the sick hoop. Welcome.
Watch this dunk.
I'm
Oh,
watching.
you can't put it away.
How
I was gonna climb the wall
this?
and try and get the dunk.
Hope stream was good. Welcome in. I'm playing Peak with Zeus and Bracky.
I'm gonna get water real quick.
Sure.
Good luck.
Also, welcome in Raiders. I'm Tiara. I'm a kobold. I play a bunch of games. I love fighting games. I love dragons to bits. I love dragon bits, and I do art sometimes. Welcome.
These basketballs are great.
I'm a true kobold. I can climb everywhere. Breaky bad. Look, it's gate me. It's not gate 7.
Dang it.
I'm okay.
You made from steel.
Yeah. I grab it. Eh. Just ragdolls. That's how you play basketball.
I'm bad.
We're gonna ride the ping pong airplane.
Ping pong.
Ping pong.
Can't believe you can get up there.
Me so EP. Oh, EP good. Kobo go. Thanks again for the raid. Do that post-stream care. Oh. King?
Thought she was big.
Oh. Oh. Just falls down immediately. Ooh.
Clog.
Bong.
I'm back.
Hello.
Oh, I dribble faster if I'm going on the treadmill.
Oh, you do?
Dang, you dodged that.
I'm too fast. Aquaborb says Bracky bad.
Breaky bat? we're all just hitting Zeus. Hi, Grove Dev. Grove? Oh, welcome. Do you go by him or she, her, or they, them? I go she, they. Both are fine. I guess we can try again. Also, welcome in Snaford. What happened? No, I would love to imagine like in the airport and then you see like random people just climbing everywhere. Oh my god.
This
Oh.
is what children do.
I would be scared. Yeah.
You lose track of them for 5 seconds and they're on top of a tree.
Yeah, they're just climbing everything. Wow, if it's a Grove dev, then
Do we want to start?
I love the Grove game. It's
Do
good.
we have time for another one? Curious to go in
We
and
still
out.
have 2 hours
Yeah, I-
before the time that Tiora said.
Yeah, I
2?
think about.
Oh, I'm blind.
We can play like 1 or maybe even 2 more if we can, but we'll see. Support of Grove dev? Heck yeah.
Can we start from the other campfire now?
No.
Dang.
We can put it on easy so we take less damage and we need less food.
No, we don't need that.
Hello.
It's just a flesh
Hello.
wound, it's fine.
Conch.
Conch?
Oh, we got another rescuer.
Can I hit this with someone? I went cannon. I got trail mix. And I got a flying disc.
I got Bing Bong.
Bing bong?
Yeah.
There's an achievement for getting Bing Bong to the top.
Whoa.
Bing bong.
Ping pong.
Like the campfire or top?
The top. The very, very top. We should get coconuts while we're here.
I also got conch
I got cannon.
compass.
There's a fire here at the beginning that we can use to cook these coconuts.
Is it like a permanent fire?
What?
I rescued you.
Oh.
Where's Tura?
I'm behind you. I have coconut. I have coconut.
Yeah,
Becky, I have coconut.
that's so cool. I can rescue you.
Nice.
It's like I have to be a... Whoa!
Whoa! You can rescue yourself?
Oh, it broke.
Oh no. What happened?
I'm dead.
I'm poisoned?
You're stepping on the jellyfish.
Oh,
The
there is a
trumpet
jellyfish.
over here.
Poison. 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 I want that.
Like. Oh, I tried throwing it, but it didn't go.
It's mine now.
Okay, we can have these coconuts for now.
This is my favorite item of the game. Do
So
we
the
even...
map is the same,
Oh,
but the items are different. The
that's
map
fair.
changes every day.
Like, this is slippery at the beginning.
It's also poisonous.
Yeah, it is poisonous.
Okay, do you want to hold this coconut?
Sure.
Do you have space for it?
No,
I don't have space for it either.
I can eat it.
Rocky has the backpack. I mean, I guess.
It's a little bit wasteful, I guess, but I don't mind eating it.
Bracky,
Wow.
you're leaving us.
We're being left behind.
What do you have in there? Oh, I took something from her backpack.
No, fine.
Oh, energy drinks. These are good to have. I don't have any more space. I can eat one of these.
Get out of here. What a musician.
I know, right? I'm the best music maker. Woohoo! I fell down. My leg hurts a little bit, but I think I'm fine.
Hello?
Yeah,
Oh, I heard Zeus in the distance.
I think Zeus went... Oh,
Hello?
there's Zeus. Wow, it's Zeus.
Do you still have space?
No, yes?
Let me go through your backpack real quick.
That's very personal.
There we go. I found a balloon.
Maybe
balloon
should have
makes you
given that
lighter.
to Tura, considering that Tura just jumped down the cliff.
Oh, balloons are really good for backpacks since they make the whole backpack lighter.
Oh yeah, then Bracky should have it.
Am I slow falling? Ooh, there's...
No. These are good. These give you bonus stamina.
Oh,
Oh.
e- I have fruit.
I almost got you.
With the Mario.
There's a lot of coconut here.
Did you just throw it?
I did. I wanted to get it up because I want to climb.
Okay.
I have no inventory space anymore.
Oh my god, what? I hit. I'm sorry.
It's okay, it only hurts for a bit.
I think it was poisonous.
What's poisonous? I want to eat.
The mushroom I just ate.
Oh, I wanna eat
There's
mushroom.
airline food here.
Oh, that's a good one to
Yummy.
have. Oh, these are really good.
Oh, I might need that
Okay,
bandage
yeah.
actually.
Do you? Yeah.
I hope
Why
this
am I
is not
getting
too
water?
wasteful.
Why are you feeding me?
So we can put this stuff away. Oh, I'm taking a lot of poison damage.
There's
Yeah,
a
I'm
granola
hearing you
bar.
like constantly getting poisoned.
I have.
I have no stamina. I'm like about to die.
Oh my god. How?
Eat something.
I'm not hungry.
I don't know what.
I guess we don't use the
I just
cannon.
ate 2 poison mushrooms.
Oh, must have
What
been
else do you have in
delicious.
your
Why would you do that? Do you need to support Bing Bong?
Maybe
Okay, I'll
Bing
take
Bong
support
can
Bing Bong.
Bing Bong can cure poison. What? Oh no.
Bing Bong. That's.
We could take this stuff, but we didn't take the Bing Bong and the trumpet.
But trumpet. But trumpet.
We could put Bing Bong in the cannon.
Fine. I have 3. I have 3 trail mixes. I guess might as well we can use the cannon now, huh?
I don't think. Ugh. Be out of
There
there.
used to be a bug where cannons would make items go max speed.
Oh,
I don't think Bing Bong goes in the cannon.
doesn't look like Bing Bong wants to. Bing Bong.
Alright, we're doing nothing again.
We love Bing Bong.
Zeus is just running away. He's sick of us.
Ooh.
Hello.
Hello.
Ooh, delicious.
These are safe.
Oh, they look like bugs. Jello
I thought.
on there. Can we go in the cave?
Oh,
I don't think it goes far.
and that cave though.
Wow.
Whoa. New
Don't jump down.
place. I might. New place. And a fruit.
That's the luggage.
I see.
There's many fruits here.
Ooh.
What is it?
Bandages on the first aid kit.
Nah.
Bing bong.
I guess I can
I'd say
trade.
take the first.
I can put away one of that and get the first aid kit. I have 3 of these, like, trail mix.
Yeah. I mean, just eat them if you need them, I guess. Are these green? These are green. This one's red.
Green, good.
The red ones are safe. Green ones are poison.
But
Oh,
are
we
they
did.
though? Brecky's not poison.
Yes. Have you tried eating brekkie yet?
No. Maybe? Oh, I got my own plushie.
There is an achievement for eating like 6 different types of berries.
I think I did for the mushroom.
Can we get up here?
I don't think we've gone up at all. I think we just went in a circle.
Yeah, we went in a circle.
Yeah.
I see the open luggage there.
Can you make that?
Yeah, we can make that. I can pull up as well.
Nice.
Speed run.
I don't like the fog.
Alright, no, it's not going up there.
I got up.
There's a carrot.
Carrot?
Medicinal carrot.
Oh, those are good.
Well, 2 of them.
I'll eat this, and I'll take one of them.
I'll eat 1 trail mix and I'll take 1 of them then.
I can eat a trail mix.
I have a medicinal root, a first aid kit, and a trail mix.
Okay.
There's red berries over here too if you need them.
I'm full.
I have a little bit of appetite.
Becky can eat it.
Oh, this is where the tree and the bridge is.
Oh, nice.
We could try doing it again.
Sure.
We don't have the rope this time.
So he's made it.
Zeus Gaming. Can I grab you?
Does this?
I don't think you should because the bridge might break.
Oh.
Run!
Are you okay, Brekkie? You're doing weird stuff.
Oh!
I'm fine.
Becky Gaming.
Yeah, I kind of bugged out there. And then the bridge broke right as I left.
There's a yellow berry over there that's down.
I kinda want
Yeah,
it.
that. Careful. There's a red berry. Where did you go? Oh,
My cobalt urge of wanting that fruit.
it's not worth it. Come back.
Oh, what fruit?
We wouldn't be up. Or Zeus did, at least. There's That's a urchin.
Is that bad?
Careful.
Poisonous.
Oh, where's Zeus? I heard Zeus.
Oh, Caesar's getting the present.
Oh,
Zeus hates us.
Zeus hates us.
I can eat this. It's only a trail mix.
Ping pong. Where did Zeus go?
Hello.
Hello?
Hi?
Hello.
Hello? Behind us. It's here.
Oh,
I'm here. There's green berries
so
over
fast.
this way.
Zeus Gaming. There's a green berry? Oh, it's another route.
Yum. Oh, this is safe? No, never mind.
Oh, Brecky is becoming purple.
It was delayed. Zeus is gone. Oh my goodness, this carrot looks spicy. I'm eating it.
Oh yeah, you're right. It's spicy in both ways.
I'm not making that.
You guys read me?
I got you, Becky.
Am I alone?
Hi, Zeus.
Thank you. Oh,
You want
over
trail
there.
mix?
Hello.
I have a trail mix.
Oh. Ooh.
Look.
Ooh. Okay. I'm eating trail mix.
Alright, you can eat the trail mix. Oh, how do we get there?
We
Eh.
don't. Oh, wait.
Oh, that worked.
I'm fine. Ooh, there's a hole here. That doesn't lead anywhere.
The grab.
No, I messed up.
Oh.
Bracky,
Zeus, are you okay?
Hello?
can you come to me? I'm up the mountain a bit.
Alright. I'm running
We're
now.
trying.
Okay, I see Zeus.
I need to put this in the backpack before I lose it.
Oh, my inventory is full though.
What is that? Balls.
It's balloons. Let me
Balls.
put them in the backpack. Can you take out one of the energy drinks from the backpack?
I can try. There.
There. Now you should be super light.
Oh, I have 0 carry capacity. Debuff.
Yeah,
I
I'm
can
gonna
eat.
drink this.
Yeah, okay.
So fast.
Hey, mushroom.
Oh, I'm sleepy. Oh, it's poisonous.
Is the mushroom poisonous?
Yum.
Yes.
Well, the one that I ate is not. Oh, it is. The delay. It's not that bad. I'll eat it again.
Wait, please. Let's do that. Hello?
Yeah?
Yeah, are you up or down? Oh, you're right here.
Yeah. I'm eating poisonous mushroom.
Yummy. Zeus is probably up already.
Yeah, Zeus gaming. I never noticed, but I feel like the game is on a little bit of a softer side, but I already have like volume to the max.
Hello.
Hello?
Oh, we got the special thing.
Already got it.
Nice. Can we cook this
balloons.
green berry?
We can, but it's still poisonous.
Oh,
It'll still give us more food than if it was raw.
Can we take like one of these balloons and put it on you? Oh no, you also have balloons.
There's fortified milk. I don't know what it does.
well, I like milk. I'm gonna eat the milk. But there's coconut, or maybe not.
Oh, it removes burns
That's burn.
and it gives you immunity to damage for 15 seconds.
Oh. Oh, we cure all? Oh,
That's my backpack.
what? Did you just take the balloons out of mine?
Yes, because I found them.
No, I was confused. I picked up the backpack and suddenly I had carry weight.
I don't know if we can cook the heal root.
No, that's a lot of things to cook.
Green crisp berry.
I guess we can. Okay, can we cook this medicinal root?
We can. Apparently it gives you spores since they added the spore update, and cooking it removes the spores.
Oh. Oh, we still cannot see the next biome until we light the campfire.
Can't get me too fast. I don't think we can cook this, but I'll take it, I guess. You can have a rope.
Look at the carrot in my backpack. I bet it looks funny.
Oh, I
my
was gonna cook the root.
I'll light the campfire.
Whoa. Black?
Yeah, we definitely need to cure the spore more. Anyone's leg hurt?
No, I'm fully healed.
Oh, I'll keep my first aid med.
You can eat it if you need the food.
I want it. Does
It's still
Breaking
gonna
need the
poison you a
food?
little bit.
Poison is fine.
I'm so light and nimble.
I have no.
Cheating.
Oh my god, luggage.
Yeah, I tried to get that the last time and then the wind blowed me off.
Yeah, and then I fell down to almost my death.
And then I was gonna throw a snowball at you while you're climbing.
Where's the wind? Oh, there's food on the bandage. Let's do it though.
There's another luggage over there. I think they're trying to get to that one.
Yeah, I want to get that green one.
Oh, there's wind.
Wind.
There's a hole right there, watch out. Meatloaf, beans, and potato.
Good happen.
Hello.
Heck yeah, I'm
Careful,
here
there's
now.
a hole.
Oh?
Do you want airplane food?
Airplane food? I mean, I'm full, but I can eat it.
Let's ask Bing Bong.
I think that's a bad idea.
Guess I'm not having
Okay,
that.
throw with the airplane food.
No! Food! I want to eat it.
I guess I could eat it because I think a little.
I already threw it away because Bing Bong said no.
Yeah, we have to respect Bing Bong there.
It's over there.
Dang. That's terrifying.
I hate it.
Oh, I'm falling.
Why are we here?
Spooter!
Progress.
Yes.
That was very close.
Hello, Spider Bing
Win.
Bong. What if we use the wind to jump far?
Oh! I listened to you. Oh.
Are you okay?
No, I'm not.
Oh no.
I'm not okay.
I don't have any. Oh, you have one.
I have one.
Okay.
That was a good idea. Hello?
Oh,
I saved Tilra.
I'm awake. And we have a
I
spinning
found the
rope.
airport food if you need it.
I'll take the airplane
Hello.
food. I'm alive. I listened to Zeus and jumped down.
Yeah, I saw.
I was like, oh shit, oh my god, I can ride the wind. I can be cool.
I tried getting to the next tree, but I grabbed onto it and like slid down,
Oh,
so I didn't take any damage.
I tried to grab to a rock, but then my leg hurts.
There's a Lukash. Two
Look at. I wonder, look at.
Oh, there's these poison shrooms. Watch out.
Win.
Win! I want to get the luggage.
Oh, cannon.
What's it have? Antidote
It's
and
a-
medkit.
Medicinal root.
Oh, there's mushrooms.
I should probably get
Do
a
you want
first
a
aid
bad
kit.
mushroom?
I want it.
It's bad.
Yeah, but it's good.
Okay. I mean, it's bad, but you can have it.
Mushroom.
Oh, yeah, you're paralyzed for like 20 seconds. There's a heal root here. Here, you can have it. Ah, it's Mandrake.
Whoa. What the?
Stop screaming at me.
I'm sleepy.
Gonna die.
What the?
It's a Mandrake.
Oh, oh my god.
Oh, what's wrong with your eyes?
So he's just
We
gonna
fight it?
No, it's a trap for heal roots.
Are we in fog?
I think so. We should probably make a U-turn. Win.
What if I eat it?
Don't eat it. Can you eat it? You're gonna fall asleep.
I'll win.
Oh, I'm mushroom. I'm full of mushroom.
So I can feed you this to cure it.
No, that has mushrooms in it.
What? I
Do I
can
look different?
No,
Antidote.
Do I drink an antidote?
you
I
should.
think you're pink. Your eyes are pink instead of black. I don't know if that's the fog though.
Yeah, I also don't know if it's the fog.
So my stamina bar is gone and it's just mushrooms now.
So I guess I need to give you this to heal it then.
I don't think so, but you can try.
Here.
Still there.
Crap. Maybe you can try the antidote?
I already tried it.
Oh, then I'm out of ideas.
Do we want the antidote?
Oh, it's done. The mushrooms are gone.
Oh, okay.
The antidote is only good for poison, from what I can tell.
Okay.
It is antidote.
Do we want to? Oh, there's another box.
Yeah, I just saw it.
Ooh, it's lost stamina.
Win.
Hold on. No.
I have mushroom.
No.
Oh, it's first aid. Do you have space?
I have
You do have
space.
I
Oh, you
can
don't have
eat
space.
something.
Mushroom.
Cloud
Oh, that one is
fungus.
poisonous. It has frills under it.
That one is poisonous. It's
Oh, what
frills
is
under it.
this?
Well, poison is
Cloud fungus?
what the goblin wants you to think.
I'm gonna eat it.
I don't think you can eat it.
I can't eat it.
I think we throw that one and it explodes.
Oh, throw it at me.
Oh!
Ooh.
Oh, I think that's a floating platform.
Whoa, okay. Wow, that's so cool. I'll grab this first, right?
Yeah, it's a
Right.
floating platform.
I want that floating platform. Oh my god, it's made by Brecky.
Oh god. Boy. Oh god, dying. Ah!
Are you?
Brecky's
help?
poisoned?
I'm
Did
fine.
Bracky eat the poison mushroom?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, there's two spiders up here. It sees me.
Uh, you need help?
Can someone...
Oh,
Oh, I
what the
cannot.
fuck? Excuse-moi? Oh yeah, you wanna play that game? I have a hot dog, you little shit.
Hello, Bracky.
Hello. It's too okay.
Yeah, I'm
We
fine.
outmaneuvered the bug.
Yeah. Can I get this pink mushroom?
I don't know if they're an item.
Oh,
Dang.
they look so pretty.
0
though.
out of 10.
Yeah, what is this game? I cannot believe it. A shiny mushroom? I cannot eat it?
Win. Zeus made it up here, so surely that's easily possible. Surely Zeus is waiting up there pulling this up. No.
What's happening?
I don't know.
We followed you.
Oh. Okay. We have a lot weaker items than we did last time.
Do we?
I
Yeah,
still
we
have...
had the rope launcher and a chain launcher last time when we were here.
We didn't do anything with it. So it's still the same, I guess.
Yeah, I died with the chain launcher on, and I think Bracky died with the rope launcher.
No, I used I used the chain launcher to get the tree for the cool item.
Red
It-
mushroom.
It's okay, we just need our
Zeus went
muscles.
the other way.
I see a luggage.
Oh, infinite stamina.
Is there luggage? I cannot tell. I don't want to jump down.
Do I care about poison?
Yeah,
It's
alright.
not luggage.
Thank you, Ping
Need
Pong.
help.
Where's
I
Zeus?
think it is luggage, but I don't think that's worth jumping over.
Nah, it's not luggage. Ping Pong said it's not.
This way's a dead end.
Oh.
I
Okay.
have to go to the left.
No, I guess we can get the not luggage. Ah, there's a poop
There was-
thing.
There was a spider over here earlier.
Oop,
Oh, we got a rope launcher.
Wow.
flag.
Do we still have the antidote?
No.
I was gonna check what the checkpoint flag does.
Do I eat the airplane food and take the rope cannon? Or do I take the
Oh.
checkpoint flag?
Checkpoint flag saves the game in case you want to leave.
Oh, I mean, I don't think we know.
I'm okay.
Okay.
I saw the checkpoint flag fly off the side of the mountain.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
it's okay. I mean, we still.
Do we have space for this rope launcher?
I could eat something if someone has some food.
I have an airplane
I
food.
have this reusable.
What is this? Oh, ancient luggage. Ow.
That looks painful.
What's it have?
Bulge of
bugle? Okay.
friendship.
I want a boat.
Bugle. Don't use it.
Whoa.
I used it.
It gives us infinite stamina, but it runs out really fast.
And put it away.
Eesh. These two are very good
You
items.
I can
Uh,
feed Brecky airline food.
What's in my backpack?
That would
I
be
also have a
appreciated.
cure-all.
Thank you.
So
Now
what does
it's
this
gonna
do
fly
with
away
rope
with the
launcher?
next wind.
Even a rope launcher?
Fortified milk.
We could drop the medicinal root.
We could stand
I want-
here. The wall.
I want milk.
Do you want milk?
What happened?
You take no damage.
Whoa. I want to see if I can put my rope launcher into your luggage. Nope. Okay.
No, mine is full.
Am I? Ooh. I guess
Did
we
Bracky
can.
already eat the food that we...
I gave
ate
Brecky
airplane
the.
food.
Okay.
Ah, yeah.
Could stand here apparently.
This is a big mushroom.
We-
Is that
There's more luggage above us.
bag the
Yeah.
goat? Ooh.
We could use the rope launcher right now to get up to it.
You can have it.
That sounds like a bad idea.
Kind of, with all this purple smoke on us.
I kind of want that luggage. You can launch me up.
Over here again.
Oh my god, bouncy?
Whee.
Bouncy?
Don't fall down.
I probably will.
It moves us a little bit every time.
Oh, wind. Wind.
Oh my god, win! Help!
Oh my god. That's very close.
Is that the ancient luggage out there?
No, that's a survivor luggage that has like the rope launcher and the chain launcher and stuff like that.
Oh,
Maybe it's worth it if you just get another one.
with the mushroom we might
I
be able to
also
get
feel
it.
like if someone has a lot of stamina, they can make it from there.
I feel like I can. Let me try.
Yip yip
Oh yeah, I was
yip.
gonna say.
Loading
Hello.
translation.
What is it?
Good girl.
Oh my
Do I
god.
have to go?
Aye. Ow.
Thank you for following.
Loading translation.
Sorry, I was distracted.
I thought I could get up, but no. Maybe I could eat this hot
Do you
dog.
gain stamina while on this? You do.
Yeah.
Okay, I can probably get it.
When
My leg hurts a tiny bit.
It has a python and a rope.
I have a rope.
I'll take the python. The python's good. Which with the python we can maybe climb up this.
I can definitely not make it up there.
Not even if we help you?
Oh wait, I have a green energy bar. Maybe.
Oh, I have a rope. We can just drop this rope.
Yeah, I have rope too.
How much do I need to drop?
That's good.
I'm gonna
found
see how
mushroom.
far I can go up this. No.
Yeah, it doesn't look like we can go from here, actually.
I don't know.
Wind!
Wind.
God fucking damn it. I was holding a mushroom! I was holding a mushroom! I was holding a mushroom! Yeah. Ugh. Oh, there's echo? Holy shit, that's kinda cool. There's echo when I'm kind of far away. I'm dead. I'm dead.
No, I went down the road, and then like walked out.
I can hear them echo. I should just give up and respond to them. Can I be a ghost?
Hello?
I think I'm a ghost.
Oh, hello, Ghost.
Hi.
Hello?
Hi, Ghost Tiora. Tiora's dead.
I'm in danger.
I fell down while I was holding a mushroom.
Oh no, I tried to get you. No, I'm down here.
I'm here
Ow.
for Bracky. Where are you,
Oh, no, I'm
Bracky?
also dead.
Bracky?
Uh-oh.
Where's Bracky?
Brecky dead.
Oh, Bracky's over there.
Brecky dead.
I can take Bracky. No.
Cure
Oh,
all?
I have cure all.
Oh my goodness. Hello?
I saved you.
The power of cure all.
Oh my god, bing bong.
I'm not comfortable answering that.
It's
Oh,
okay,
no.
Bing Bong.
What is happening to me?
Wind and poison.
Oh, Brecky is so much
Oh,
mushroom.
okay. Never mind. Left back. No, that's a poison one.
Where? I guess we lost all of Tiro's items. Tiro's had it. You had the first aid kit, I think.
I had a first aid kit, a rope launcher.
Oh no, those are good.
Yeah.
I used to have rope, but apparently that's gone now. Can you pull me up, possibly? Thank you. Yeah, the mushroom stuff is going away slowly. Ooh, there's
Yeah,
luck.
it's like poison. But it's inside the purple.
Yeah.
We have to find a different way.
Oh no.
This is where the
Oh.
rope is. Oh, I'm getting mushroom on me.
Mushroom.
How do we get around this mushroom fog?
Hello.
There's like more and more every time.
Mushroom fog bad.
I don't know. I don't like this biome.
They change the biomes every day.
Oh, every day. Holy shit.
Yeah, every day it's a new map.
Maybe we should try going the other way. I don't know.
I think
Yeah.
Oh, Safira. Oh my god, take them. I take them.
I think we have to force our way through the
Let's go.
mushroom on this side. Oh no!
Brekkie looks so angry when Brekkie is climbing the rope.
Wait, it's windy.
Oh,
Go. Whoa!
oh, mushroom saved you. Holy
I
shit.
landed on a bouncy mushroom.
Mushroom saved.
Where did Zeus go?
Can you make it this way?
Hello?
Hi.
Are you safe up there?
Yes.
Okay, I'll run.
I also have cure all if you need it.
No, I landed on a bouncy mushroom.
And then I think we go this way. Hmm.
It's a vine that goes nowhere. Wind.
Whoa.
Okay.
Hello, Tilra. Oh no.
I'm a ghost that haunts you.
I need to be pulled up.
Yeah.
I'm a ghost that haunts Tekken.
Okay. Let me look first.
Yeah. That's good.
It is doable. Look, I can do this.
We're
Grab onto
fine.
this python. It resets your stamina.
Oh, there's a scooter.
Oh, this might be bad.
Looks a little bit too far.
I
Can
have
look
an
in my
idea.
backpack? Hello?
Hi.
It doesn't look.
bugle of friendship. I can give you infinite stamina.
Brekkie's out of stamina.
Oh my goodness.
Come here,
Are there? Why not further up?
cause it's up. It's out. Okay. And then from here we can go this way.
Okay.
Ooh,
And
mushroom.
then Do you need to eat mushroom?
No, I have a granola bar.
Okay, I ate mushroom. Then I think this way?
Upwind.
This way works. Hello, Tiora.
Hmm.
You have very white eyes.
I know, right? Do I have big
I have
eyes?
an energy drink in my backpack.
Get to where I was standing first and then drink it, maybe?
Oh, we're fine here.
Okay. Watch out with the mushrooms. This one's poisonous, so don't eat unless you need it.
Dude, I was just gonna watch now.
I'm watching. I'm not
What does
responding to
Bing
Telegram.
Bong have to say.
Take me with you.
I missed it.
If I say yes, will you take me with you?
Come this way.
This way.
Win.
Can you pull me up?
Maybe. I'm getting pushed by the wind. Oh, there's a red mushroom over here. What's this one?
There's one above.
Bounce fungus.
That's
Oh, that's a good
berry.
mushroom. You can eat it.
Oh, I'm trippy. Oh my god, what is happening?
Oh, do you see
Did you get the
space?
speed boost? But you got speed boost. We can go this way. What is that? Cluster shroom? This one I think
Hello.
is good.
I'm just looking at Brecky.
There's a medicinal root here, but it might be the mandrake again. We don't need
I
it.
have one on my backpack.
Yeah, we don't really need that one.
What if it's
There's
not?
an achievement for falling 50 meters onto one of these bounty mushrooms.
You. Let's see. Hello?
Hello.
There's white berries down there. Like mushrooms, I guess. We can take this vine to the tree and then there's luggage on the tree.
Oh no, that's bad.
That's not optimal.
I thought it would face upwards, but it didn't face upwards. Oh no.
What did you get? Oh no. I just said, oh no, and then Zeus was gone. Hello?
I hit an explosive thing and it just launched me off the mountain.
Oh,
No.
wow, we have two ghosts watching Brecky now.
It's these big round things. They explode and launch you.
This is fine.
You wanna eat another
What does-
granola?
Bing Bong have to say.
Please don't.
Don't eat the
Yeah,
granola bar? Hi, Chip. Eat Chip.
You can go up behind you.
This is Spider.
They're friendly.
Probably.
I think this is where we were when we ended last, or we died last time.
I went to a place where I cannot climb up at all.
Yeah, this looks familiar. Yeah, I remember standing on that and looking at the spider. Up there.
Oh, I think we went sideways, no?
Yeah, I think from here you go to the right.
I'm gonna wait for the next wind or I'm gonna check what's in my backpack. Wind. I have marshmallow, energy drink, cooked medicinal rope, and energy drink. Energy drink might be good.
Yeah, that one's a good one to hold in your inventory.
Oh, you couldn't read it.
Paranoia. It's a fluffy dragon.
I don't know
Hello,
where to
cafe.
go. This is stressful. Can I stand on that? Oh, there's
Welcome,
a
cafe.
thing.
Very cool fluffy dragon. How was Spyro?
Hello
Whoa.
and welcome.
And thanks for the follow.
I have a plan. Oh,
Heck yeah, thanks for the
Rocky's
lead.
cooking.
Yeah, Breck is definitely cooking. Okay, I should be muted in game for now. It was fun. I also sculpted the little mousy guy. Ooh, sculpt? Heck yeah.
Oh, be careful with those things above you.
yeah.
Also, welcome in, Raiders. I'm Tiara. I'm a kobold. I play a bunch of games. I love fighting games. I love
I
dragons
made it.
to bits. I love dragon
Is
bits.
this the bathroom?
And I do art sometimes.
Fucking
Welcome.
That is poisonous.
I'll do the get that thigh after.
You can eat it. It's not
Oh,
gonna be
actually,
that
I'm gonna
bad.
do it now. It's fine.
But I'm fine. I have so much food as well.
I had so much food on me when I died.
I'm glad the stream was fun. Heck yeah. Thanks again for the raid.
This
If
one
you need
seems
any
pretty
post-stream care,
straightforward.
get some rest, get some food, get some drink, definitely go do them. Very
Oh, no.
important.
Snowing.
It's a waterfall.
I'm gonna go this way over here.
Brecky's gonna do it. Brecky Gaming.
No, that was a bad idea.
I'm gonna get
Bracky,
that
professional pro gamer.
I will get the thigh while I watch Brecky Gaming. Have a good rest, Cafe.
Oh, that mushroom
this
to your
is a
left
good
is
mushroom.
good. Yes.
I remember the one looks like a bun.
Heck yeah, have a good lurk. Thank
Oh,
you.
and
that
there's
red one is
another
also
one of
good.
these.
Red and yellow are good. Blue, green are bad. What did you get? Oh, you got infinite stamina for a couple seconds.
Oh no. What's in here?
Thank you for
Bandage.
following. Many H's and S and J and many H's again.
I guess I pick up the one-up kit. The cool
Honking
thing
bee.
about these mushrooms is
I did the get the thigh.
you can like
You,
climb them upside down. Can I fit through here? I
Whoa.
don't think so.
maybe. I can't really see through the rock.
No, there wasn't anything there.
There's a mushroom behind you.
That's a good one. Might as well.
Heckin' eepy.
Have good EP chip. And thanks for the lurk.
Oh. Oh my god,
Oh,
there's
this
so
looks
much
like you're near
luggage.
the top.
Should I just keep going or should I get the luggage?
You should be able to get that one luggage. Oh, that's on a bounty one. That might be hard
Yeah,
to get.
there's... And then there's one like down a bit this way.
Yeah, I wouldn't do the one down there because there might be danger. I don't think it's worth risking.
Stuck. Oh,
Wind.
wind. There's another green one.
Oh, but that one's also on a bouncy one, which is even more dangerous.
And these guys have strong legs.
I
can
don't
open
think
it from
this is
there.
a great idea. Oh wait, I can open it from here.
It has a balloon, a first aid, and a stove, a camping stove.
I,
The balloon could be nice to grab. Makes you
I
lighter.
can't grab it from here. Oh,
You could get above the mushroom and jump onto it.
can I bounce?
Yeah, and then you can try and land on the suitcase.
That sounds complicated.
Ooh, gaming.
Oh no, it's gonna be windy.
Just grab the balloon and have it in your inventory.
I don't want to do anything when it's windy. I'll pick up... no, energy drink. Why is this?
It's
Well,
gone.
I was definitely
is
not
it
looking at
grabbable?
Telegram.
Is Teal'c just doom scrolling?
What does...
I don't know.
Thank you for the encouragement.
No, I'm not doom
I want to
scrolling.
go back. It kind of looked way better to get up the other way.
It looked sort of safe to go this way.
Ooh, woo-H-H-O,
Like if you look to your right, there's that ledge you can climb on.
Yeah,
I'm a ghost boat.
seems pretty high up. I'm going back.
You could also climb directly above you.
Also, hi Lex. Welcome Lex.
Trying.
Ghost cobalt noises.
And then it can go on this room. And then here's pretty darn safe.
And then you can revive us. You made it.
Brecky got it. Very gaming.
Well, this seems pretty high. 1 second. Energy drink?
You could. I don't think you need it. But you could.
Okay. Well, if you say I don't need it. Nah. Wait, that's the energy ball. Okay. Whoa, I'm fuming.
Oh, it's another campfire. Brecky made it.
Did it?
You're a hero, Bracky.
Very gaming.
Do you see that green box over there?
No. I'm
Look
back.
at it. That looks reachable.
Ooh, I want it.
Yeah, I'm good. Hello, Jade.
Whoa, it's Jade. Oh my god, the bird.
I saved everyone.
Yeah, Becky Mega Gaming. Hey Jade. Where's the box? What's in the box?
Yeah, where was the package?
Where did the box go?
Yeah. We were scammed.
Oh my
It's
god.
over here. You got it?
No, there's no box.
Oh, we got scammed.
What the heck?
What happened?
The box is
We
gone.
saw a box here and then now it just disappeared.
It's further. Oh, it's in the fog.
I guess we don't
It's
get
further
it.
down. I did see it.
Oh, few
Okay.
gay.
Hello, Jade.
Kobo
What
will
is
be
this?
gay
Like
for
torn
that.
Look, you can
Page.
see it from here.
Torn page?
Gather around the fire. If you find a nice place to light a campfire, make sure to bring your friends close by first. The fire brings something even better than heat and cooked food, and that's motivation. This is what I have
Motivation?
left. I still have
Yeah.
marshmallow.
I have nothing.
We could. Well, then now you have a second marshmallow for yourself if you want it. I'm lighting the campfire.
I said it, Jade. I said it. There's a berry here.
Oh, there's berries?
Oh my goodness.
Careful, the walls
I
down.
only found one.
Yeah, I don't see any more. Such heinous lies. It's not a lie though. I
I'll
think
take
Jade.
one berry and I'll take the stick.
I have one
There
marshmallow.
was another backpack here. Oh, Tiro has it.
Yeah, I took it.
Oh, that's mine.
Oh, do you want the
Okay,
backpack?
I'm gonna light the campfire. I don't have anything to carry right now, anyways.
I'm a fearful.
I'm lighting the fire.
Alright.
Can I get the berry to
You want a berry? Here.
We started with half hunger, or I started with half hunger at least. I don't know
I
about
can
Tiro.
eat another berry.
Yeah. I have half hunger.
Oh, oh, okay. Well, then you probably should eat
I'll eat
stuff
the
then.
marshmallow. Oh, that helps a lot, yeah.
I should have eaten the marshmallow. Here, I can hold this for you.
Zeus, do you have the black debuff as well?
Yeah, it's a curse.
Oh,
It goes away with cure-all. And with
course.
Pandora's lunchbox, but Pandora's lunchbox is such a bad item.
oh, is it bad? But it heals though.
Yeah, and the cure-all was in your backpack, right?
Yeah, it was in my backpack. Cure-all is good. Pandora's lunchbox is just random buffs and debuffs every time you eat it.
That sounds like my kind of item.
Yeah, but like you can eat it and it'll just curse you, and like you can eat it again, it'll just die.
I just died.
It's completely random.
Yeah, there's a few lunch boxes in the line of sight.
Ooh.
No lunch boxes.
So, I have been through this biome. There's random snowstorms, and we have to hide or cuddle up so we don't freeze.
How do we even hide?
So kind of
though?
like the wind, but instead of pushing us, it freezes us.
What? Heat pack.
Oh, that's good. I'll hold it.
I don't have any.
Like this one?
Hide, go, hide.
Where's Tiro?
Like My leg hurts.
Yeah, now if we stay close to each other, the cold goes away faster.
I'm touching you.
I'm touching Breck. Touching Breck.
What are these?
Can we eat that?
There is berries on the tree.
Oh, there is.
I'll go forward. There's something stuck on the ice? Magic bean? Guys, I found magic bean.
Oh, that's good. Oh, it's hide.
What
Go
the
back
heck? At least here this.
Hello.
Hey. Is Becky okay?
Hopefully.
Look, magic bean.
Yeah, if you drop it, it makes a beanstalk.
Oh, Becky.
And we can
Becky.
climb it. Is Bracky okay?
Becky.
Bracky freeze to death.
I hear Becky. Sharing body heat to survive, so cute. The snowstorm seems very
I found a balloon.
frequent.
Oh, Bracky's over there to the right. Oh,
It's so frequent.
it's not as bad when we get to the mountain.
Aren't you too high up?
Hello?
When we get to the mountain, it's super easy to hide from it. What is that?
Like this
I
berries
found
out
a
here.
bunch of stuff. You have a backpack. Oh. No.
Put it in.
No.
No, don't drop it.
No, I didn't know.
That's why I called you over last time.
I think I hear the thing.
Bracky's over here. Oh, there's a berry behind you. I'm gonna eat my hot dog. I can hold that if you want.
Okay.
There's soul snow going on?
Oh, there's thick.
It's probably gonna snowstorm any second. No. Oh,
Yeah.
there's more over there.
Here, grab these. I'm putting them in your backpack.
Oh, okay.
We can keep going. Oh, that's an orange one. Oh, that one has an achievement with it
The one that I'm
if you
holding?
save it.
Oh,
Yes. There's a hot
Little
spring
box.
around here. It's
Oh, no.
secret.
wow, that was
Over
instant.
Here. Yeah, by this rock.
Say.
Rocky might be freezing.
Yeah. I was so close. I had 10% health left. Oh,
This
Bricky's
seems pretty
fine.
lenient.
Hello.
Yeah, it just happens like immediately.
Oh, so many.
Oh, that's a very deep hole.
Someone is sending me messages.
Messaging Brecky? Wow. I should do that more often.
Also, if you get burned, it removes cold, and cold removes burn.
Blowgun and energy drink. No, I don't have any room.
Here, I can attack Bracky with this blowgun.
No. I saved you.
I saved you with my cure-all. It's gone now.
No more cure all.
Oh no.
Uh oh.
Wait.
Hello, Bracky.
What?
Wow. How do I open my backpack?
You have to put it on the
You
ground.
drop it.
Press Q.
Oh. Oh.
There's
Oh, I see the hot
another-
spring. Do you still have the berry?
I still have it.
There's a hot spring directly above us. Did you see the smoke?
Oh, yeah.
I just see luggage.
If we take the berry there, we get an achievement.
Yeah, I have 2 berries. I'll try going there.
Granola bar. I'm throwing this. Oh, no, you're right.
I have space.
I have a place in this woods. Where's the...
You wanna?
Oh, well, yeah. I'm fine. You can put it in my backpack.
I took something else there.
I'm trying to go up to the hot spring. I'm okay. That might be bad. I should go check on them. You guys okay?
This thing won't have to say.
Okay, they're fine. Hopefully I'll be fine in the hot spring.
Hi, Tiora.
Is it here?
There was an easier way.
Oh my god.
Is it here?
Yeah.
Or is it the hot spring?
Sunrises.
Yes.
Ah.
Oh no. Okay, the hot spring helps us.
Thank goodness for hot spring. So do I just...
I think you have to give it to one of them.
I need heat.
Get in the water.
Oh my god, capybara.
Or I think you have to give it to them. I'm pretty sure you have to give it to them.
I can only feed to Bracky.
I'm gonna eat it. Oh, you have to eat it.
I'll just eat it here.
Yeah.
I didn't get it.
Maybe you had it?
Scam. Oh, I
try
had
eating
a
yours?
yellow berry. You had an orange one.
I had the orange one. I got nothing.
I got nothing.
Haha, get wrecked.
Maybe it's because you were deeper into the water.
Oh, probably.
I'm stuck. Okay.
We should stay in this hot spring for a bit.
The fog's gonna rise.
Oh my god. Blown away.
Alright, time to go. Okay, he says.
Yeah, the fog is coming too.
Alright, time to run.
Oh, that was a bad idea. Another bandage would be useful.
Oh, there's a thing over here. I'll
Thing?
just- Oh, I fell.
I got you.
Okay. I want to
Oh,
grab
I
this
think
thing.
Oh,
No. No, it fell. Was your inventory full? Oh.
Oh no, because I was dang it.
I still have the magic bean.
Okay.
Here. There's another one.
Where's Bricky?
Over there to the right.
There's another one.
Oh, it's cold.
Over here.
Cold.
You can jump over here. There's another
Hi.
platform.
Another platform mushroom. Tiora went quiet. I don't know where they went. Hello, Tiora.
Hi. I'm touching. I'm touching.
That's over. Period. This you feel to be casual?
Where did that come from? Can we parry in this game?
Okay. Like this. Fuck.
Ah,
There's no snow here, so we're probably safe.
Oh, we're in a cave, technically, I think.
nice.
Oh, this looks cool.
I like this place. I like cave.
There's these temporary pythons. These break.
Break.
Yeah.
Dark here.
I don't think we can go up through here. We have to find a different way.
Can we grab it?
Are you sure? It looks like it. I guess we're supposed to use these things here.
I think they're randomly placed. I don't think those are placed by the devs. I think those just spawn in caves.
Looks like we can
This looks
go.
too dangerous to go through.
Maybe.
I'd rather find a different way. Are you eating your thick mints?
I'm eating my thick mints. I want to be thick.
Look.
No.
Guess we'll go from outside.
Red. Oh my god. Oh,
Is it Blood Moon?
I'm
There's a
terrified.
path through here.
Can you pull me up?
Yeah.
Thank you. Wait, where's this?
Day. Day. I'm pinging.
Hello.
Uh-oh, we're gonna be cold. Oh, we're fine here.
Oh, Zeus. Go for thing.
It looks like I can climb up here somehow. Scratch that. I didn't say anything.
Oh, what?
Are you okay?
Fine. I'm fine. You have to hold E. Can't let go of it.
Oh, you have to hold E for that. I never used that thing before.
Yeah, you probably have to wait until. I don't understand this.
You press E on
Okay.
it and then...
Oh, I was holding forward. Okay, don't hold forward when you're on it. Hold E and don't hold forward. Oh no.
I'm eating another thick mints.
Solid rain.
Whoa, hello. Eye contact. Oh, I cannot stream for too long though. Hi, Salo.
Hello.
Hacking cold friend. Well,
Over here
thank
to your
you.
left.
Thank you, Evie. Power's hard space. Shield breaker? Alright, let me try climbing this. So you're new to peeking? Yeah, I'm just first time playing it with Brekkie and Zeus.
Oh my god, is that a spider? No,
Are there
it's a tree.
spiders?
No, it's a bush. The bush looks like a spider.
Bracky scared of bushes.
I'm almost there. Catch me. Thank you.
I found.
Oh, I'm using stamina.
Walk here. Okay.
My extra stamina.
Go left. Go left.
Does anyone have anything small to eat?
I have thick mint
No.
if you want.
Oh. Tira has thick mitts.
I'll feed you.
Thank you.
I didn't die.
Can I have one?
Hi, Kianix. Sure.
Nice. Now we're out of thick mitts.
Alright. We're out of thick mints, but it's okay. Take out the 10 energy drink and then grab this. Okay.
You should put the bean in the backpack so you don't drop it by accident.
Right.
Because if it hits the ground, it starts growing.
Here.
Okay. Also, welcome in Raiders. I forgot to say this, but I'm Tiora. I'm a couple. I play a bunch of games. I love fighting games. I love Dragons to bits. I love Dragon bits, and I do art sometimes. Welcome. Currently playing Peak with Brekkie
Brekkie
and
escaping.
Zeus here, so heck yeah. Hope stream was good. I might not be able to stream for too long though. I might have to end soon.
I feel like it's gonna storm soon, and this corner seems pretty safe.
I had a feeling too. Did you just say that you like Dragon bits? Exactly. I'm a couple.
Yeah.
Whoa, friendship.
Stone.
It's ice rock. It makes you ice.
Snowstorm. Dragon bits
Wow.
cool.
I want to look around. Oh,
Careful.
I think we go that way.
Yeah.
Looks fine to me.
Well,
Jumped over there.
Nice.
Okay, this
No.
is a safe spot for a snowstorm.
That looks very far away.
this doesn't look good anymore.
Yeah.
Do we have anything to throw?
Can we go on the impact here? This looks promising.
Do you think Magic Beam would work
Maybe.
here?
We could magic beam right here.
I'm pretty sure we can just climb this way.
I guess it does look a little bit promising.
I don't see any spot to land from here. I think we magic beam right here.
Okay.
We put Bean here?
And then it grows up.
Not down. Not down there. Oh, wait.
Here, I'll let
Oh, okay. I see what you mean.
I'll let Zeus use the bean. I don't know how to
listen
use
to
it.
me.
You just throw it, and wherever it lands, it starts growing.
Yeah, I trust in Zeus more than myself. Bean. Oh my god, Bean.
Oh, it doesn't frag you with it.
Aw. I don't even understand that.
Green bean.
Oh no! It didn't go.
What is that? Mushroom?
It didn't go where I wanted it to.
I'm pretty sure with
Are you-
these you can like climb at the bottom. So
Is that like a bouncy one?
kind of low on stamina.
Are you like hungry or something?
I'm hungry. I'm injured. I have weight.
I'm also a little hungry. I have one fruit.
I don't have any more food.
Well, I have marshmallows, but that feels like a bit much.
Then
Marshmallows like 30 to 40%.
Yeah,
Then-
no, I
I
don't
only
have that
have
much.
the heat pack.
I'll eat this fruit for now.
It's fine, Zeus can pull me up.
I'm
Or you
following.
can... Don't like doing the jump.
Thank you.
You
Right.
jump scared me.
Mummy's scary.
You... Oh! Okay, we're fine.
I was trying to throw it here, but it, for some reason, hit the beanstalk.
I have
Can I stand
energy
on this?
drink.
We can stand here. And then we can go this way.
I will need to be pulled up, probably.
Bye.
Oh,
Uh-oh. Oh wow, that's a lot more.
I have an energy drink, so...
Yeah, I have one energy drink as well. I guess I can try climb up with energy drink. Or do you want it?
You could try.
Marshmallows.
I'll give it a try.
And see if you can stand anywhere and pull us up.
Yep, I'm up.
Stop climbing.
Eh, I'm grabbing. I can't. Oh no!
No,
Yo, I got Bricky. Uh oh.
maybe... Wait, I have a rope. 1 second.
Is Zeus okay? Okay, Zeus is okay.
fine,
Zeus
you
is
can-
flying that, yeah.
Did you make it up?
I made it. Yeah, we both
I
made
can
it.
let a rope down if you want.
It would be helpful to me.
Tie knot? I don't know how to do it.
You have to use your scroll wheel to let it loose. Like use your scroll wheel to
Oh,
make it go further. Yeah.
you tell
More?
me when to stop.
More. As far as it goes, I think. That's good.
And then...
And then tie it down.
There we go.
Yay, friendship.
You did it.
What do I have?
Luggage.
Oh, heat pack. Alright,
Granola bar is useful.
my backpack is empty now.
I could probably eat this granola bar.
Oh,
Okay.
on the corner.
There's a cave over here, maybe. I'm gonna eat this granola bar. I need it.
We can stand here.
Does any one of you want a heat pack? I have two.
I have one.
Does it matter?
It removes cold. So if you get stuck in the storm, you can just use a heat pack.
Okay.
I put it in your backpack. You should probably hold it in your inventory.
Oh, wait, we have to go into the corner. Oh wait,
Here
you
you
get
go.
ice from ice.
Yeah, ice
Yes.
rock.
Oh. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Could we make it over there?
Where?
No.
Over this way.
Oh, that one. Hard. I think that might be a little bit too hard. I feel like.
Could we stand there? Like down?
Stand up here?
Can we stand there?
I think so.
There's a tree here. I'm fine. I'm not fine.
Are you okay, Brecky? Okay.
Yeah, we cannot stand there.
I must see if I can stand over here.
I'm fine. We can climb up from here. This looks possible.
Maybe? Oh, cold. Okay, climbing sideways worked. Oh,
Did you make it?
I made it. I'm at the tree.
Hello?
I might be able to pull Brecky up. Also, hi Zeus.
Oh. You know, it would be helpful if you had the rope right now.
Oh, I don't have the rope though.
I have it.
Let me try to grab you from here.
That should be possible.
The way I went is pretty safe.
Grab.
Are we safe?
Looks like it. Maybe Zeus there has like multiple items that we can grab.
Well, go back down.
Cold.
I'm back here.
It's okay. Oh, it's all okay.
Are you sure?
Oh, it's all okay. Is it okay? I don't know. I'm taking slow cold damage.
I'm coming close so you get less damage.
Where's Zeus? Okay, I see Zeus. With items then. I'm going.
Checkpoint flag would be really helpful right now.
Who?
Because you gotta go.
Oh yeah. Cold. Heat pack and milk.
Yep.
Do we have a bandage?
No, I
Wow.
don't have it.
We don't have bandage?
No.
I found a bugle of
Uh,
friendship.
Whoa. Brecky, you need this heat pack? Hey.
Oh, did you? I'm very hurt and very hungry.
I have a med kit.
Med
Get
kit's a
over
lot.
here.
Thanks for the chin scratch. You guys okay?
I found a rope launcher in one of the suitcases.
And you want it?
I guess. Yeah, it'd be good.
I'm also hurt, but it's not too bad.
I don't. Wait, did you use it on me?
Oh no, I used it on me.
I'm hungry.
Sorry.
I'm up here still. I don't know if you guys can make it up here.
Wait, I have rope.
We can.
Looks
I'm
like I
just
can
hurt.
jump up there.
You go first. We're just gonna make it up before Tura has to go.
We can try. Grab me.
Um,
Expect more from me.
I guess we can try. You think a milk would help here, Zeus? Like help you
A what?
heal?
I can't really hear you.
I don't
Oh,
think.
your volume got reset.
Oh shit!
No.
Oh, Reki. Where's
Oh, no.
Reki?
Fine.
Ricky.
What did you
There's
ask?
a fruit tree. That's great for food.
Oh, there is.
Would
want fruit.
would
Could
milk
someone-
help heal?
Pull me.
Milk
I got
gives you hunger
Oh, hunger looks
and
good
makes you
right now.
invincible.
I have
eating
a
this
bit of
berry.
hunger.
I have many hunger. I'll grab one.
You got it? Okay.
Yeah. You need it?
There's another one.
I'll steal yours then.
I'm gonna eat this one. Is that fine?
Yeah, I'm gonna eat this one as well.
Um,
Okay, I'm at a good amount of stamina now.
I have like about 60%, I would say.
Yeah, about the same.
60% seems okay right now.
Oh, there's a magic thing over there to the left.
yeah.
You see it? Oh, there's two of them. There's also a luggage right there, but that's a nice one.
Is that good?
No, those are bad.
Okay.
They suck. They just give you 100% sleep.
Oh. But then sleep will cure itself, right?
That's how I feel all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll cure.
I think sleep goes away all the time.
Thank you.
Yeah, sleep goes away.
Oh,
But
that's another luggage here. No, don't.
I mean, I could try using it. Let's see if it cures me.
Hopefully, maybe? What if 100% sleep just like sort of KOs you?
Oh no!
Get up
Don't,
here.
please don't leave. Can I put this in your backpack?
Sure.
Oh, you have a lot of space.
Yeah, my backpack is like empty.
I'm gonna try and eat
There's
one of the berries,
a
see if it
sports
helps.
drink up here and a heat pack.
I have 2
If you
hit
can't
packs.
make it up here, I can. Wait, where's
I
Zeus?
think I can get up, yeah. Wait, are they calling for me already?
Where's
Whoa.
Zeus?
Okay, I can't make it this way.
Yeah, don't worry. If you can't make it up, I still have rope.
Oh, there's a sports drink.
Is it the water bottle or is it the can?
Water bottle.
What the?
Yeah, that one's extra stamina. It's just good to drink if you have it.
I can drink
Oh,
a
look
milk.
at that.
Extra stamina.
I can drink the milk for hunger, I think.
Apparently.
It's only 5 hunger. I mean, you can. Nothing bad about it. It could be better.
I have sports
We can
drink
get up
now.
Here.
We have a rope launcher in Tiro's backpack.
Oh,
Let me try this.
might be a bit too high up, I feel like.
Yeah, unless you can stand on there.
We try the other way? Oh, that's luggage.
This doesn't look good.
I'm gonna go.
luggage.
Yeah, I'm gonna go get that luggage.
And another mushroom. Rope?
Rope?
I can hold that.
Yeah. Ooh, cold.
Whoa.
Oh, hold. Hello?
Oh, you're down there.
Cold. Right, we could.
this way.
Looks
I
possible.
could-
There's white on here, but that doesn't.
Yeah.
I could. Wow. I could rope launcher right here.
You could take it from my backpack.
Do I do this?
What does rope launcher do?
Sure.
It. We throw a rope.
We believe in Bing Bong. Cold.
Okay, it's bad.
Oh, I didn't grab.
It's fine.
Does it not go up there?
No, it's bad. Help. Help.
I'm
Help,
grabbing. I'm
help,
grabbing.
Help,
Yep,
help,
yep, yep.
help. Okay.
Yep, yep.
I think we're done.
Freezing. Oh, the fogs.
Un-
Wait, do we have food? If someone has food, I have a lot of. Like, I'm super healthy.
I'm out of
I can
food.
probably climb up.
Yeah, I need Toru's backpack.
Yep.
Okay.
Is it the fog?
I don't like the fog.
Yeah, it's the fog.
Ah, no wonder I keep taking damage here.
Okay, I'm dead.
Heat pack.
Stop climbing.
Oh, heat pack stops it.
I'm also.
Oh
thank
no.
God.
Eh. I'm not dead yet.
Oh, you caught onto a pipe.
Yeah.
Bye, Tora.
No, not yet.
You're standing on ice.
Yeah, but I have heat pack. Wow, heat pack lasts for a long time. Holy shit.
Yeah, but if you're not frozen, it burns you.
I wanna die. Where are you?
I'm like very very down here. I couldn't get up anymore. I have no stamina.
Bye, Frankie. Oh, you. I thought you were gonna die.
Heat pack.
I heard I had some food. Wait.
What do I have
You
inside?
have a heal root.
Oh, I have bungo of friendship.
The bungle.
I have a bungo of friendship.
I'm dead.
I hear I hear a huge stunk. Can I friendship myself?
Is this the off dog stream?
Did Doug. Well,
That blow the friendship.
He did it.
We
You
did
solved
it.
friendship.
we got the friendship.
I think we could have made it if we went the other way.
If we went a
Probably.
different way, probably.
I don't want
No,
to
I was still like super healthy. I just
Oh, it just cuts us out. Eh. Whoa, Brecky's the highest. Oh. 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 Late doctor, holy shit. I need food.
Bro has
Give
to
me
go
food.
anyways now. That was
Yeah.
perfect timing.
Hello.
Hello.
I had to go.
We timed our death perfectly.
Yeah. Now I can
Yeah.
just hug.
I'm mad about it. I'm so angry.
Yeah, I can
This
see
has
that.
buttons?
Here, let me. Hug. It's so. It's so strong. The hug. Oh,
We did it.
we did it.
Why
The
is
mega
Becky so
hug.
angry?
Yeah. Hey, I'm stuck on Bricky.
Hello, Scrum.
I didn't think of it, but you probably do have freckles in real life, don't you? You're from that part of the world,
Who?
Bracky. Because you put freckles on your character. I'm assuming you probably do have freckles. Okay.
Oh, this is the first game where Sue's name is getting displayed correctly.
That's crazy.
Wow. Yeah.
To be fair, I've only played Satisfactory and Over There.
Look, I have
Neither
new
of
head.
them showed it. I didn't get any cool hats.
I don't know how I got them, but I
Oh my
have-
god.
I got a Christmas one.
I just saw it.
Oh, I got that one too.
You can click on the two.
Oh, we didn't do cannibalism. Did you have cannibalism turned off, Bracky, on your side?
I don't.
Since you're
I don't
server
know.
host?
Where do I do that?
It's under accessibility settings.
This setting can only be adjusted on the main menu.
Is it on or off?
It's on.
Oh. Okay. If you have more than 50% hunger, you can eat your friends.
More than 50% hunger.
Cannot.
Yeah, I just guess we never got 50% hunger.
Yeah, I don't think I had that.
We died of blunt force trauma and not out of
And-
hunger.
Cold.
Ow.
Can still
Oh,
scrum.
I
I
can't
feed
knock
knock
scrum.
out two people at the same time.
Mm.
What does this mean?
Jade
does what
never
mean?
feed me.
Can steal scrum.
Oh! I
Jade,
did it!
Jade's so mean. I never get I never get fed by Jade.
I deserve that.
Well, I think I have to stop here for now. I'm gonna end the stream slightly earlier than usual today.
We still have 10 minutes. We can speedrun. Let's go.
No, I cannot. I'll grab you.
If we play again, it would be a different map, maybe with different biomes.
Sure, I mean, I'm okay with that.
There's a desert biome, a jungle biome that we didn't see.
I'm touching your hand.
We're hand touching. That's gay.
I can't touch your hand, you're too high up.
Wait. Am I too short? I don't know what Tira eat outside of Shiny Rock. Well, something that's white.
Okay.
Okay. I guess we end here.
Yeah, I'll end here.
How long do we go? 340? That's fine. That's a good amount of time. For me, at least.
Yeah, 344. Yeah, then it's a little bit on the shorter side, but I'm okay with that.
You emote.
Touch. Touch.
Hit you with the book. Like how I was raised Catholic. hit people with the book.
Can we like?
I suck.
Should I have a worm apple emote? Actually, good idea. Why worm apple?
Passport can look at. Oh, I'll leave
Let me
first.
see who is online. I have another person playing Peak.
I want to
I
check.
follow them, but they're not furry in any sense of the way. Yeah.
Give me a second.
You have to throw a
As far as-
three-pointer.
I know. They're pretty okay to raid.
If you want, I guess we could. You could tell me the name and
That's
I
if you
can.
want to.
Yeah, you can tell me the name and I can. Or DM me the name so that I can look at it.
I sent the message in the group chat.
Okay. Oh, they're also playing Peak.
That was
Yeah.
more fun than expected.
Yeah, Peak is great.
Oh my god, Bing Bong!
Oh, we got Ping Pong here.
Yeah. You should ask your friends for help.
If you have the arachnophobia setting, it turns all the bugs into ping pong.
Oh, I need to have it then.
I guess so.
Oh shit, only main menu.
Now, if someone wants Bing Bong.
Ping Pong.
Oh my god, can we throw?
Well, I guess we're rating patch dust. I'm okay with that.
Sure. Let me.
Bing Bong
type.
is not sure.
Ping Pong says sure. Okay, nice.
I typed it.
You typed
Already
it?
sent it.
I haven't. Let me plug my things real quick. I'm just gonna like. I have a coffee. I
Do
have a
it.
Discord, and
Oh, that's
yeah.
fine. You don't.
I did it, Bing Bong. You cannot stop me. And I need a rate message as well.
I think that's a bad idea.
No, Bing Bong, it's a good idea. Okay, I have the thing now. And I typed in the name to raid. And I'm ready to raid.
Yeah, definitely.
See, Bing Bong's nice.
I think that's a bad idea. If I say yes, will you take me with you?
Probably.
Don't do it.
Alright. Are you raiding out soon?
Don't do it.
Yeah, I'm on the countdown already.
Oh crap. Well, I will raid out as
It's
well.
fine.
I don't?
You don't have to like rush or do it at all if you don't want to.
Oh, it's okay. I'll delay a little bit then. I'm being hugged.
Being punched with the book. Just how
Can you
I was
hug
raised
with Bing
Catholic.
Bong? No.
I don't
Well,
think
I'll
you can
do
have
my
any
usual
uniforms.
outro then. So let me mute myself in Peak real quick.
Wait, we can pick it up like this maybe?
Oh, my stream.
There.
I'm in my stream.
It's all good. Alright, I muted myself in game, so I know it's a little bit abrupt, but I will end the stream here. I think every
Goodbye.
Monday we'll be playing games together. So before the raid,
I will
Kobo wants to say
vanish.
Okay,
Goodbye,
Bracky.
nice rest of your day.
Have fun.
Bye.
bye Breaky. Alright, I'll do the outro and I'll raid out as well. So yeah, thanks for playing.
And then we could do another day if you want to do another day.
Sure. I mean,
Unless you're tired of me and you never want to see me again.
never. I want a cool dog. We could play Peak again next Monday or something. I guess Monday we could play together if you don't mind.
We could do RV there yet next time if we have more time.
Oh yeah, sure. Today is just a little bit of a special case, so I'm okay with that as well.
Okay.
Then I'll leave first.
I will leave now.
No,
I'll walk into the sunset.
I will. Not if I leave first. Not if I leave first. Okay lah. I'll see you guys next time. Alright, so before the raid though, Kobo wants to say thank you all so much for joining with me today. Really appreciate all of you. Love you all so much. And also know that you guys are heckin' loved, valid, and matter. Very valuable. Kobo loves y'all, alright? And here comes the raid to patch dust. Hiya. Boop Jade. We love Jade here. Also, Jade, you never feed me. Where's my food, huh? I'll wait for the countdown. Should I? Yeah, I can. I mean, it's almost... I'm not too late or too early. And the ad plays now. Oh, that's kind of funny. Keep couple poison mushroom. I will nom 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 on it. I will keep nom nom nom. Did I have the raid message? I think I did. It was all over the place. I don't even know what I was doing. Good combo. I'm good combo. I eat poison mushroom. Poison mushroom good. Poison mushroom fun. Well, mushroom tastes good. I'll see you guys on Thursday. Take care, everyone. Kobo loves you all. Mwah. Bye bye. Take care.